Hello and welcome everyone, we are back for the third match of the Division 1 today between Serenity Gaming Topaz and Esports Lightning Fang DK Oldboys. I'm Kachka and I will be bringing you this series today with Karen.
Howdy everyone, how's it going? I hope that you all are doing serene. My pounds are off the chat and we haven't even got into the first minute of the stream yet, so, you know, that's fun. Hopefully we won't see any FFs today, because we've had more of them in this weekend than in the entirety of the first half of the Wintersplit, so, you know, hopefully we'll get an actual good game.
Hopefully we will, and we have someone joining us today just before the game. It is the jungler for Topaz right now, Suits. Hello, are you here with us?
Hello.
Alright, Crossman's interesting.
That's okay, starting off strong, yeah.
Yes, starting off very, very strong indeed. We have some questions, you know. The first half of the split, you were a coach. Right now you are transitioning into the jungle position, or well, you are actually playing. So, I mean, how does it feel like to be playing rather than coaching?
Yeah, like when I was coaching, I feel like I want to do something like in the game. So coaching doesn't really fit me. Like I wanna impact in the game. So that's why I've been playing again. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to be the strongest team in SRG and in the Wintersplit.
Alright, well, I guess that answers the second question I have. So you are pretty confident in this lineup then, but how do you think that the 7-man lineup that you have will work for you? Like, what does it feel like, the atmosphere in the team, knowing that you can swap around these players and that there is some competition for these spots?
Yeah, I think it's really good, like as a team, if you can work around it, because everyone is feeling pressure, so everyone have to like improve as players. Like no one can be lazy. Like if someone isn't improving, then they are not playing. So if we can work well with our coach, we will take this Wintersplit really easy.
Alright then, well, glad to see that not much has changed in terms of confidence from the previous Topaz. One last question, pretty much a kind of a new question, but anyways, how do you compare your current coach to yourself in the first half?
Like to myself as a coach?
Yes, just the main question, you don't need to actually answer that.
Okay. Yeah, he's a lot better than me, like.
I guess that's why you're playing.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, how does his style of coaching differ from yours, maybe? Are there going to be any, like, big changes in how Topaz is actually going to play the game?
Like, me as a coach, I just take from experience what I've got, like, previous from other coaches. And he's a coach with a lot of experience. I've played against him in the Swedish scene, so I know him from before. And I know he got a lot of experience. He can learn everyone in the team.
Okay, that answers my question, yeah. Anything else? Also, yes, I wanted to tell you that I have a bit of a pet here with me today. I know that you guys already know it, but I hear the sighing, but don't worry. So, if you guys manage to beat Oldboys really quickly, say, I don't know, like in the first 20 minutes, you're going to get a nice little Krog from a frog, okay? So you're not getting it before that, but just know that it can be a nice little reward. So I think that's it, and we'll let you go back to your team and enjoy a nice little game on the Summoner's Rift.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming. And well, so one of the questions that we had is how this new Topaz will compare to the last one. I feel like confidence-wise, it is pretty much the same. They are confident, and yeah, they would. I mean, Suze just said it. They want to win the Wintersplit, which I think is nice to hear.
Oh yeah, in the first half, they were one of the most dominant teams. I believe they actually lost to Hydra. Oh wait, no, that was Hillero. It was pretty much a competition between Hydra, Hillero, and Topaz. And this time around it might be very similar, so that atmosphere most likely won't change, but I'm still looking at what the new roster is going to bring us, because in comparison to the last one, we don't really know how their style is going to change just yet, but I'm actually hoping that we're going to see a team more focused on the communication aspect of the game rather than just individually outplaying the opponents, because the skill of every single player has increased dramatically from the first half, so the old ways wouldn't really work out in the second half, and maybe that is why they have a new coach.
Yeah, and I mean, communication is something that we will need to look at, because that Topaz team is new. These players haven't really played as a team at all. Have played with each other not that much, only with some exceptions, like you heard that Suze actually played against his coach. On the other side, Oldboys, they stayed exactly the same as the 5-man group. They haven't changed a single player.
Oh yeah, and they have a relatively specific style of gameplay where they focus a lot on team fighting, and that is something where you have to show your prowess as a team itself. So they can have the advantage in that regard. But a problem of Oldboys was that they kind of fall apart in those different lanes. You generally can see them pick like 2 losing lanes, and they just fall apart there, and there is nothing that they can do in the late game. So I'm just hopeful that they maybe fixed up their mistakes from the first half, and that we are going to see some actual late game team fights, because both of these teams have players that can play the champions that really fit this scheme properly.
Yeah, Oldboys, well, first half of the split, let's say, didn't go too well for them, as you said. The champions not really being, not really suiting them, having the lanes, but I'm hoping that, yeah, we will be seeing something good, especially that Fiamzu's Kassadin, especially in the promotion games, he actually played it pretty well, and these games did stall out later on, so, you know, hopefully they can make something out.
Whenever you see Fiamzu actually pick his
Crossman tries to go in for the engage, the QSS has already been burned, and the flash from the Supreme, but Fiamzu is in the backline on the rampage, already taking down the
he is capable of pulling off some nice little plays, as you just saw. He got a nice little, was it quadra or triple kill? I'm not quite sure right now. I believe it was a triple. So he can definitely be the main carry player on the lineup of Oldboys. But again, for that to happen, he needs to not be shut down, which is something that Oldboys have been struggling a lot with in the first half of the split. So hopefully they are just a bit more confident and a bit stronger on an individual level. Whereas with Topaz, I'm just hoping that they are going to be an actual wall of just cohesion and coherency in their communications.
You brought the fact up that Oldboys cannot fall behind, and I feel like a lot of the times when they didn't, it was due to their jungler. Different fanboy, he really needs to find his ganks early in the advantages, and one of the champions he likes to play is that Nocturne, which is something that I am looking forward to seeing, especially on that level 6 fire spike, because we have seen in the first half some nice Nocturne plays or ganks just completely taking the control of the game.
Oh yeah, G-Friend fanboy on that Nocturne, he can pretty much single-handedly turn the tides of the game. However, what often happens is that he actually hoards, I'm going to put it in quotation marks, hoards the kills for himself, and as a result of that, his team actually cannot transfer the lead into the mid-game, where they ultimately sometimes just get run over. So that is, again, something that Oldboys need to work on, and the place where they want to be giving these kills is either someone like Fiamzu that we've mentioned, or someone like Supreme. Supreme is known for playing his Kai'Sa. He has shown his prowess on it, and he's a really good AD carry, and he can also play the Lucian. So if you give this man a couple of early kills, he can help you. He can make sure that the enemy team doesn't actually get to do pretty much anything. But again, for them to do that, they need to funnel these kills into Supreme or Fiamzu, which is where they have found themselves to be struggling a bit.
Yeah, and it will be dependent very much on the draft, so I am waiting to see that. We should be going in just a couple of minutes, and the draft for game 1, it will be something that will dictate the pace of this series, because let's not forget it is actually the first match of the second half, so this is where the teams want to prove themselves. Topaz is a completely new team, so we can only speculate what they will want to play around. And you know, on the other side, we talked about Fanboy and his pressure. I'm also looking at Suits, if he can create some pressure, because he likes to play some of the early game, or maybe not early game, but gank heavy or damage heavy carry junglers.
Agreed. Suits was a bit boasting about some of his great stats lately in ranked, so maybe that can scare Oldboys into actually banning it, and if it goes through, we can see a really good game from him on that. I'm looking maybe at an Ivern. That might be just, me because I enjoy a bit off meta picks, but that's likely not going to come through. But yes, Suits is going to be incredibly important for how the game for Topaz is going to play out as well. However, I'm also looking at the solo lanes of Topaz, because while the players don't really play something that can really snowball out of control on its own, Prilish, he likes playing the Renekton, so, that can find some leads on its own, and especially if you pair it up with Suits, Goldberg might find himself in a position where he's facing two really high damaging champions early on, and if there is something that he has found himself to struggle with, it is actually giving the kills away to the opponents and not really doing anything himself.
Yeah, Renekton is to being a late bully. He can pretty much win any matchup, especially, yeah, as you said, Suits with that early game aggressive jungler could be a big factor. Yeah, so yes. Anything else that we want to talk about before the match starts?
Well, what we can talk about is that I have a nice little frog. However, that is not what we're going to talk about. Instead, we're going to be moving into the first game for these teams, and I think it's again important to mention that the format of this tournament is a single round robin. So you mentioned that both these teams want to show their cards and how good they are, and that is certainly the case for DK Oldboys. However, maybe if Topaz are confident with their own individual ability to just pick Oldboys apart, they might want to hoard their cards, at least for themselves, for just a bit, so we may not see their full potential be blown out today. Now, if they lose the first game, I think that's a bit, unlikely that they aren't going to go out, but it's still a possibility that these guys are still going to have something to show us going into the split, and I feel like that's incredibly interesting to just look at teams and be constantly surprised time and time again whenever they pull out new and innovative stuff on stream.
Yeah, that is something that I will definitely pay attention to as this split will progress, and yeah, just setting that standard today, showing your first impression, showing what you can do, and then just evolving throughout the split, all those different strategies coming together and coming up with new ones as well. I feel like the first half really showed us some interesting stuff, so yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing that in the second one, especially with a team that, if you are slightly higher, let's say you are slightly higher ranked than other teams, you are not really afraid to innovate that much. Like, you have the space to pick up something that's not maybe 100% optimal just because you are confident in your ability to be individually better than your opponent.
Most certainly, and especially when you have a team like Topaz, that means a team with more than 5 players. They are currently running a 7-man roster where they can swap out 2 players on mid and AD carry role respectively. They can innovate a lot and show various little strategies throughout even a single series. So again, that can be something that we can actually focus on, because if we see one Topaz, that can mean that it's not going to be the same Topaz in the second game. We may see one Topaz just completely focusing on late game team fighting, and then another one just, going for early game aggression, maybe picking that as real instead of a scaling hyper carry and just destroying them in the early to mid game. So again, it's going to be a really big benefit for these teams, and I think it may be a trend that we're going to see actually moving onward with the split in more teams, but again, it just depends on what the teams want, really.
Yes, so I just want to guys update you just right now. So the game technically should be going, but we are still waiting for the esports lighting Fang jungler. Fanboy is apparently missing in action, so can we get some support in the chat to make sure that he comes to the game and we will actually see something, hopefully. So
hopefully,
yeah. In the meantime, though, we can talk about whatever we want.
About whatever we want. If I were to rule Serenity Gaming Rewind.
I would want no.
I would want late game team fights and Ezreal.
Why Ezreal?
Because he's a nice champion to look at.
Is he? I mean, he's like the
he's
Akali
a
of the AD
metrosexual
carries.
Kafka.
No, he's like the Akali of the AD carries.
Oh, is he? I feel
yes,
like it's
because-
Draven.
Well, I guess yes, that is also true. Okay,
so
maybe
the-
not necessarily the Akali because of
The Ezreal, I feel like, okay, so Ezreal is the Lux of AD carries.
okay.
Okay. That actually sounds very accurate. I have never
Yes.
thought about it that way.
Okay, so the way I thought about it, yeah, is because on Ezreal, once you get your Triforce or even the Iceborne Gauntlet and your Muramana stacked into the Manamune, or the other way, I don't even
Manamune
know.
into
And
Muramana, yeah.
into Muramana, then you actually hit like a track, and pretty much the same is with the Akali as soon as you complete the Gunblade. So that was my train of thought, but I guess Lux is more accurate because on Lux, once you hit those two items, then you just one-shot everyone.
Yeah, it's like, so you have Ezreal and Lux. Both are blondes, both love Ezreal, and both have a lot of Rule 34 around them. So, you know, it kind of fits all of these criteria. But let's move away from my fantasies, at least for 1 minute. We have talked about pretty much everyone on both lineups, but someone that we haven't actually given our attention to have been the supports, and that is someone that actually really wants to emphasize, at least on the lineup of Oldboys, because I mentioned that Supreme is the person that you want to give all of your kills to, and he will effectively carry the game if he is sitting on a hyper carry, but whenever he's on Lucian, a person that really helps him with getting those early game leads is Madlife. So I feel like his Pike, his Thresh is something that we really should be scared of if we go into the pro draft, and that may also deserve a ban. So again, another good player on Madlife, on Oldboys.
Yes,
he's an old mad boy.
Yes,
as some would say.
He's an old mad boy that just goes around and hooks people. So yeah, that will be definitely to look at, but on the other side, Art of Creation, he's also a pretty versatile support player, as in he can play these engage supports, he can also play these protective supports. So I'm also looking at Topaz and to see how they decide to utilize the fact that their support can play these multiple playstyles, at least according to his OPGG, which, yeah, I mean, I guess that works.
Yeah, that does work, especially when you have two AD carries, so you can actually swap out these playstyles. When you compare Sensational to Game X, to Game X2, I'm sorry, that's his proper name, both have a relatively similar champion pool, however Sensational can actually play Lucian really well. So whenever you see a Lucian go through, it's going to be a contested pick for both Oldboys and Topaz. And if Topaz lock it up, you can expect Art of Creation to go with something like that playmaker, such as Alistair, Rakan, Thresh, or he can also go Braum, if that combo is allowed. But I mean, if you're a support and you have your Lucian locked in and you can pick Braum and you don't pick it, I have no idea what you're doing, honestly. But, you know, that's
maybe there's a better matchup for Lucian and we just don't know about it.
No, okay, there is none. There's officially none. I'm a superior analyst, Kachka. Okay.
Well, officially, but that does not mean that someone isn't going to discover a better one.
Are you trying to just shoehorn in your Tristana support
no,
again?
I'm not.
Okay, good.
I genuinely am not.
Crossmas and
It is
Trust before they engage the QSS has already heard and the flash from the Supreme, but Fiamzo is in the
high
back
chance
line
of
on the
getting
rampage.
It is so OP that you basically run it down mid lane. That's the equivalent to playing Tristana support.
Yes.
Pretty much. Unless you're Dark Main and you make videos about League.
Ooh, I just saw the stream. We got the clip once again.
We got the clip once again of Fiamzu getting a triple kill. That is really fancy. And Fiamzu, quite a bit. But I'm not sure if he can really square up against someone like King Zerath, which, by the way, I have no idea how that name hasn't been taken before he locked it in, or Silent Knight, because while both of these players don't play anything super aggressive like the Assassins, they have the lineup that can actually take over the mid lane with just pure poke alone, such as the Zerath, Syndra, Lissandra, Vel'Koz even. So if these picks go through, well, Fiamzo is going to have a really tough time picking some of his comfort picks, like that Kassadin, like that Aurelia, because he's just going to get, well, poked out of lane. So again, it's going to depend heavily on what the draft phase will actually give us, and I feel like that's been the story for a lot of the matches thus far.
Alright, we've got some official info finally. So the game will be postponed by half an hour, and I am not entirely sure if me and Kerem can actually talk about stuff for half an hour. Can we?
Well, later Padawan. I don't know. That's the official version.
Yes.
I have this button with the frog still here, and I'm so tempted to actually press it.
I mean, you can press it. The game is not going to run in half an hour.
No, it's reserved for victory. It's reserved for for
It
Topaz
is
victory.
the victory frog.
The victory frog, that actually sounds better than the punishment frog. Because,
yes, it does.
You know, you don't like things that punish you too much.
Yeah, I think that is pretty much like the standard.
Is it?
Generally?
Some people enjoy punishment.
We're not going to go into that. But then if you enjoy punishment, then is it even a punishment?
I mean, that's the question for BDSM, isn't it? At this point.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just gauge from that, because there are other things to talk about, believe it or not, on this stream. There is another thing that I would love to bring up, and that is the fact that you mentioned that Suit played against his current coach. And, you know, there is another person that he has known in the past, and that, my dear friends, is Prelish, who is going to be playing in the top lane for Topaz. So while the entire team may be a bit disjointed at times, because you have to remember, this team still isn't locked in place, okay? Everything can change. The top lane, Prelish can still go away, so technically this is his tryout, quote-unquote. But these two players are going to know each other, so I think it's even more possible that it's gonna be Suits and Privilege just versus, is it going to be Goldberg or Dizzy, actually?
I think it'll be actually Dizzy playing in the top lane.
Okay, interesting. So, well, the top laner of Oldboys is going to have a really bad time, insert sans meme, but, you know, it's hopefully going to be fun, and we have about half an hour, so I think that we can go into a 30-minute long break, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Unfortunately, guys, we are not 100. Level 100 podcast boss like
we
Papa
are,
and.
But you know.
I don't think we're as good as Papa Smithy and Valdez, are we?
Well, no one is better than Papa Smithy, so you know. That's just impossible at this point.
Yeah, so half an hour podcasts aren't really our king. Therefore,
yes.
Yeah, therefore we will, guys, see you in half an hour. So yeah, come back, we will be there, hopefully for some games, so see you then.
Hopefully, yeah, see you later.
Legends never die. When the world is calling you, can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die. They become a part of you. Every time you bleed for reaching greatness, relentless, you survive. They never lose hope when everything's cold and the fighting's near. It's deep in their bones, they'll ride into smoke when the fire is fierce. No, pick yourself up, 'cause legends never
Sound microphone activated.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome! We're a bit earlier back than we would be normally, and that is because we have a very rare occasion here. Because my dear friend, Kachka, who is my co-caster, at least right now, has challenged me to a 1v1, and because I am a man of honor, we kind of, have to do it. So, we cooked up a solution to, fill up the time of the 20 minutes that we're going to be waiting for the jungler of DK Oldboys, and now it's time for viewer interaction. Hopefully there are actually some people watching, because else it's going to be really boring.
Well, technically it's 58.
Okay, technically, yeah, but, how many of them are our view bots, right? Okay, so, viewer interaction, guys, you can choose our champions, okay? So, write down in the Twitch chat, I think that's how that works, just write down the name of the champion that you would like to see us play against one another.
I don't think we have all of them. Do you have all the champions? I don't.
It's okay, if we get a good enough of a selection, then we'll be able to play them. Oh wait, I just realized, I have like 10 champions on this, on this account.
I don't think that's fair, is it then?
I mean, okay, I have a Nunu, a Thresh top. I do not have Thresh. So Okay, so yeah, I have no idea how this is supposed to work.
Yes.
Okay.
So we've got the Thresh.
I just had violent pig, cough. Sorry. So okay.
Kassadin, Thresh. Do you have any?
Kassadin, Thresh. No, more of Garen. That's who I do have. Okay.
I can play Thresh. I don't think I have Kassadin.
Okay, so do I go AP Tristana? Just to beat you at your own game.
AP. I mean, I'm playing tank Tristana.
Well,
You can go AP.
Okay. Okay, sure. Let's go then.
By the way, is it first blood, 100 CS and tower, or what?
Yes. That's how that works.
I don't think AP Tristana is a good pick. Alright, I'm playing Thresh because I was the first pick.
I'm going
Tristana.
to get most likely destroyed. Okay, well let's.
Yeah.
This is a bad idea.
This is a very bad idea.
This is a very indeed bad. Okay, so yeah. Wait, where is Tristana, boys?
Alright.
This is how we entertain ourselves, by the way, in case you guys are surprised. We just pick really bad things to ourselves. So am I forced to build AP Tristana?
I don't think you are forced to.
Okay. But I mean, I don't want to build a normal one because,
I don't even know what rune am I going for. Like,
see, I am actually a good player. So.
Because you know your runes.
Yes, precisely.
Interesting.
Interesting,
an
right?
outstanding move.
Are you going AP?
Why are we doing this?
Because there is 20 minutes on the timer, and we have to keep the attention of our lovely viewers,
Yes.
That's how that works. Okay.
Is it? Okay, good.
I don't know what I want to go.
Oh wait, actually this is gonna be interesting.
Not that, Jesus. Okay, there we go. I'm ready.
Yeah. Alright, let's go.
Okay, boy.
Yeah, by the way, we have the spectator color point on the Kerem's team, so you're going to be seeing stuff from his perspective, I think.
Yeah, that's, okay, that's, yeah, good. At least she's here. She locked something in. It's okay, boys.
Good.
Okay.
Yes. We're not mad.
Yeah, so how are you, Kachka? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm ready to smash some noobs.
Noobs. Did you literally use that?
Yes.
That's... the croak is just sitting here. Okay, I think that I can reward myself if I win. If I win the 1v1, I'm going to use nice one little croak.
Yeah, I think that is fair.
Okay. Also, yes,
no one said Tristana's count. Well, no one gave us suggestions.
Yeah, no one gave us suggestions. We got Thresh, and I don't have any champs, so...
Yes.
Like,
Kerem is a filthy EUNE player,
Yeah,
he has no champions on the US.
I am a filthy EUNE player, and yet I'm better than you. Shaking my head.
3 champs. Well, Kerem has neither, and I picked one of yours. So, You
I
should have just
invent-
kept spamming suggestions.
Yeah, I invented. I am an inventor of new and good picks like Jin Mid and AP Tristana, apparently. That's my signature pick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is gonna be fun waiting, isn't it?
All right. Well, analyze the matchup then.
Analyzing the matchup.
Yes.
Okay, so AP Tristana is actually a really strong pick, okay, because her ultimate, I believe, scales with AP, and that's it, okay? So
No, actually, her E and W also do.
Oh, do they?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that. Regardless, after level 6, she's going to have a really strong power spike, especially against someone like this Thresh, whose ultimate doesn't really do too much damage. Oh no. Especially since he is going to be building AD, at least as far as I know. So, you know, I'm going to have a lot of advantages there. However, he's probably just going to poke me out throughout the laning phase, so, you
How
know.
do I poke you? You have more range than me.
See, my range is actually low at the beginning of the game.
Pure analysis.
Yeah, I am. I am the
I have
superior
nothing to
analyst.
say.
It's okay. You shouldn't have anything to say.
The good old days of AP Tristana mid. I
Yeah,
know,
but-
right? See, they call me a madman, but I'm actually the nostalgic person. Even though I didn't play League of Legends back then, but it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
you're so nostalgic, you don't remember anything that they're talking about, you're just doing what happened back then in the day. Don't talk about AP Trist. Well, okay, I'm not gonna talk about it, I'm just gonna play it and absolutely destroy Kachka, so, you know. look forward to that.
Well, are you loading in? Because we're meant to finish before the game starts.
Come on, I am.
Like, this thing cannot last longer than 10 minutes.
Yeah,
so
I know, it's okay. This is what I work with, by the way, on a daily basis. My PC is so
Can
damn
you-
slow.
Can you guys hear that, or
Yes, we can.
for God's sake? That's
It's
why I
okay.
have push to talk when I'm casting.
No, it's all the women that Kachka has, I think.
No, it's not.
Is it not?
No.
Damn, okay, what's the thing? I literally cannot type, apparently. So unfortunately, you guys won't actually see Kachka's point of view. You will just see him suffering tremendously.
Yes.
That's
and
fine.
you will see the quality spectate coming in from Color.
Oh yeah, quality.
So, hello and welcome everyone to the 1v1 filler show match.
Filler show match. That
Yes,
actually sounds pretty good.
it's a time filler.
A time filler.
Yes, it is.
Okay, that is
Ooh,
a
out
lot
trading.
of them. Okay. You really want to do this, but
No, I fuck.
you really want to do this, sir?
No, I don't. I
Okay.
really don't, because you have more consistent damage than
Yes,
me.
that's superior analyst right there.
And also, I went for a troll build. I don't know what items did I buy. Please don't press Staff Color.
That isn't AD, dude. That's
Yeah.
AP. Okay, you lied to me.
I never said AD Thresh, did I?
Okay, you did actually. So it's two AP champions, both AP mages, by the way.
Yes. I mean, in the lane that they are usually played in.
Yes. mid
And
lane.
Karim got the early advantage on the push because Thresh's wave clear fucking sucks.
Wow, did you just drop the F-bomb,
Oh.
sir?
Oh,
Oh shoot! Oh, heck.
oof. Well,
Oh.
I mean, I still have one more before I get to Milo's level.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
no worries. He dropped that in like half a minute, so you know.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm fine. Rip.
So,
I don't, guys. I don't think you will be seeing me around in SRG anymore.
yeah, you're gonna get fired.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Unlucky.
Howdy, partner. How's it going?
I'm doing fine.
You're doing fine.
Why did I pick Thresh?
I have no idea.
Why
In
did I
fact-
actually go with it?
See, the thing about AP Tristana, she's still an AD character before she starts building AP. So, you know, even though I have a goddamn Doran's ring. Okay. Oh,
Easy.
what? Why did that?
Easy.
Okay. How?
Get
Why
fucking
did that
up.
focus me?
Get
That's
clapped.
actually that's crap.
I think I discovered something about myself. It's just whenever I'm playing, I drop F-bombs unintentionally.
That's okay. Okay, I didn't know
yeah,
why
easy.
that turret focused me.
Easy. So, how about we break down what happened here?
So what happened there was bullcrap. You know. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you won apparently.
Yes.
Because I genuinely don't know why that tower focused me, because there were a few minions left alive.
Yeah, I mean, the idea was for me to try and get you under turret when the bomb explodes, but obviously I messed up big time in that.
Yeah,
but
you
then you
did.
still got the aggro because because the wave just ran out.
Wait,
So-
there were a couple of creeps left, I believe.
No, I think the wave actually just ran out because
Did it?
the E I initiated with, I think I got like the majority of the minions
Oh,
as
okay,
well.
fair.
All right. So
Okay,
yeah,
well-
that was us 10 minutes. Let's go.
That was our epic caster showdown extravaganza, and that is exactly
Yes.
why we don't play in the
Yes,
tournament.
this is exactly why we're not players, and I think I used my F bombs. So yeah.
You did,
But yeah.
but you know, that is actually something that the players would do. So maybe
Yeah.
maybe you're just a really good player hidden down there
Yes,
beneath
maybe,
your
I am. I
beneath your
deserve
tanky
challenger.
Tristana build.
Yes, I deserve challenger. I just,
No one does.
my team is holding me back.
Yes,
that-
exactly.
And I am obviously after every pro match I am sitting on Reddit and
Mm-hmm.
analyzing the content, and actually the teams are learning from me. Like I'm writing on Reddit and then they copy it and do exactly what I
Oh,
say.
yeah.
I'm a Reddit analyst.
We call that an incel over here, but you know, it can work, I guess. Whatever. Let's move on. And actually talk about the game that is going to be unveiling
Yes.
in front of us today, because there has been a bit of a change for the lineup of DK Oldboys, as far as I know. It won't actually be Mr. Goldberg playing the top lane, as far as I am aware. It's going to be actually Dizzy, who has played with DK Oldboys, I believe, once or a couple of times in the first half of the split. I am not quite sure. But yeah, he's going to be here today. It's gonna be fun, and hopefully we're actually going to get Fanboy here as well, because if we don't, then we're just gonna do another 1v1.
Are we? I mean,
No.
I really want to cast something, and yesterday my game got FF'd. If today the same happens, I'm going to be tilted off the face of the earth, but
It's okay.
we have faith in Fanboy. He's going to be here. Am I
Yeah,
right?
I am sure. I am his biggest fan, so he really should just come here and blow us out of the water. Speaking of which, if this game doesn't air, which I really hope it does, but you know, we're going to have another game lined up for tonight. It's going to be between Onyx and Chimera at 7 p.m. The same as it was yesterday. So, you know, you can go there as well, most likely, hopefully. And
Yeah, I think that much will run.
Yeah, it should.
I'm pretty confident.
Yeah, see, I just don't know anymore. Like, the thing is, right, we prepare for every single match, and then it's like 50-50 whenever teams decide or don't decide to just show up. Of course, whenever they
Yeah.
do, it's a good enough fun time, but sometimes it just happens that they don't. And I think it has something to do with the fact that the teams are actually relatively newly formed, and they are still relatively green on the field of, well, just actual composition because of the roster changes. So maybe just people aren't just taking it seriously enough. And also it is just after holidays, so you know, people are still getting used to actually getting back into the schedule and stuff, so makes sense. But still, you know, hopefully we're actually going to see some actual games.
Yeah, I'm fingers crossed, really, because this stream has been running for an hour now, and we have done quite some talk. We have done a 1v1. I clapped Kerm, so I'm officially superior player now. It's
actually the second time that I get beaten in a
Did
1v1.
you? Okay, we're getting info. Okay, so looks like the game will actually run. It will be Goldberg playing top lane and DC playing jungle. And
Okay.
whilst you were talking about DC playing with Oldboys, I did check some of the past notes we had. DC did play with Oldboys in the jungle position.
Okay. Yeah, I
And let
thought
me
that I
actually
remember that.
just confirm which champion that was and when.
That's okay, because whenever you look, whenever you try to research players, they have at least a couple of significant champions on their, on their OPGGs, and Dizzy actually has nothing. He has a couple of games with Varus, Caitlyn, and Brand, which I think you guys can agree shouldn't really fall under the jungler category. So he's a bit of a blank state.
Yeah, by the way, guys, when you are remember, when you are practicing champions on your Smurf to hide them from enemy team, you are hurting the casters as well.
You're hurting everyone, essentially.
Yes.
I think that you actually have to give the Smurf account over. Like, you have to let us know.
No,
If you
I
have a
mean,
Smurf
I mean, obviously, like, we know why, we know the benefits of that. You don't want to show something to your opponent. Yeah, we understand, but come on, guys, you are making our job actually harder.
Yeah, and we actually have to do some research. Come on,
Yes,
you don't want to do that.
Like, why would you want someone who's expected to do work to actually do work?
Exactly. That's like peak communism, what you just described there.
Yes.
Okay, let's move on from political ideologies, shall we?
Yes, I think that is a good idea. And the teams are now all in the lobby, so the game will be running. Yay, can we get some hype in the chat?
Now this is a victory. Okay, that's
Okay,
that's
yes,
one frog.
that is the frog,
What?
guys.
Did it just...
What? Okay.
I put down the frog and I think it drowned.
Oh, no victory frog.
No victory frog, she's dead, officially. Okay.
Yes.
Regardless, hopefully we will be seeing the pro draft unveiled in front of us, and let's actually wrap up, or not wrap up, but let's do a quick TLDR.
Yeah, let's talk about everything that actually mattered in terms of the game. So we have the picks that we expect probably to be banned or picked. So how about you start us off?
So we have, okay, so from the lineup, expecting first of all Graves to be banned, just because, well, to be honest, Suits has a couple of really good games on it. Another pick that should be on high priority for Oldboys is the Renekton, because Prilish has only Renekton as his champion that he can really snowball off of. The rest are pretty much tanks like the Poppy, so that can also be one of the most prioritized picks. And as the last one, either take something that you are uncomfortable with, or you can ban out the Lucian. We mentioned that it's going to be a highly contested pick, and I believe it will be Oldboys on the blue side. So if they want to prioritize another lane, they should just ban it out, because if you let GameX get his hands onto that Lucian, you are already risking falling behind, which, as I mentioned, is something that has been the biggest weakness for Oldboys in the past.
And falling behind this Lucian is it's just a no-no. If you do that, especially against a late game or a AD carry or any hyper carry, then, well, I've got bad news for you. So yeah, let's not do that. Let's just avoid that.
Let's be positive here. Let's actually, try and win. And from the lineup of Topaz, sorry, it completely disappeared from my mind. There are a couple of picks that I'm expecting to be taken off the board, and that is one of the lovers duo, either Zaya or Rakan, depending on which they don't really like playing against.
We're going into the draft though, guys. So finally,
unfortunate.
Some action, some game. I'm Kachka, if you forgot. Karim is here, and well, looks like Zerath will be taken off immediately.
Immediately? Well, I guess they really were terrified by the fact that Topaz literally have a player named King Zerath. He hasn't really played Zerath that much in the recent past, but it's still his most played champion, so, makes sense.
Yeah, he's not the one trick, but removing that still does help you a lot, and these buns are actually going really fast. Topaz taking off the Thresh and the Lucian, whereas Oldboys, they remove the Renekton as you talked about, and throw in the Kha'Zix ban on top.
Okay, so they are just, again, taking off some of the portions of Topaz's lineup that can really snowball out of control. They left the Graves in, and if there is something that I know about Suits, is that he really enjoys his Graves, so I am expecting that to be picked maybe as a first pick. In fact, unless Oldboys decide to pick it up, they will pick up the Gragas, however, and I think that is going to be going into the jungle, but, well, Topaz pick up the Pike, and I feel like that's more stolen from under Madlife's hands, rather than really picked for themselves, because Madlife has been really good on that pick.
Yeah, he has very much been, and oh my god, this draft is going so fast. The teams had a lot of time to figure their stuff out.
Apparently.
And for the And for the Oldboys, we have Gragas probably going into the jungle. DC has played it in the jungle with Oldboys, so that would make a lot of sense. Cyan in the top lane for Oldberg and Braum for support, so we've got the front line established. On the other side, you don't have an AD carry, and Topaz have the Ezreal, so right now that 5th ban could be going towards that AD carry position.
And I am mainly looking at what Topaz actually decides to pick, because Urgot can still be flexed around mid lane and top lane. Finally, Grips is actually taken off the board, but depending on where the Urgot goes, you will have either a lot or relative amount of kill pressure mid lane, amplified by the fact that Pyke will actually be unlocked because he is sitting in the bot lane with this Ezreal. So unless Oldboys go for a high kill bot lane, which right now is a bit improbable unless they decide to pick something like Leona Draven, which honestly I would be fine with, but I don't think they're going to go for that, and it's our lovely Japanese samurai is locked into mid lane.
Yes, it will be the Yasuo being played. That is very interesting, considering that you don't really have any AP damage and the only role left is the jungler. Nidalee has been taken off the table, so Suits, he will have to reach quite deep into his pockets to try and get a jungle pick. Always actually removing three of Suits' junglers that he plays, but Braum and Kai'Sa will be played. Oh, I'm just getting information, Yasuo is Olaf, so actually we still have the mid lane getting picked.
Oof.
So at least we know what Suits is playing.
Okay, that is interesting.
That is similar to what we have seen yesterday.
Okay, it's not exactly the same as what we saw yesterday, but it's very, very similar. Oldboys are just prioritizing Supreme, as I said in the 40-minute long pre-show. They want to play around Supreme completely. They just want him to be literally the biggest carry of that whole team, and they're going to try to funnel all of their kills onto him. Whereas Topaz, by the way, Olaf is still Yasuo is still Olaf, so you know, keep that in mind. But Topaz have a lot more individual strength. They can run away with leads on their own, so they can actually take over in the mid game and in the early game with more ease than Oldboys. And again, I feel like Oldboys are going to have a really bad time against this lineup.
I mean, Topaz, with their champions, they can pretty much just individually outplay their opponents in the lanes. Like Urgot against Cyan, Urgot can win that. You have Ziggs against Galio. Not sure if a lot is going to happen there, but yeah, Ziggs still has the opportunity to win the lane on his own. Ezreal and Pyke against Kai'Sa and Braum. Once again, Braum is a pretty safe support, but Ezreal, you have good at range, and Pyke can just be enabled to roam. So Topaz, they, as you said, they have a very much earlier composition in which they will be aiming for that mid game to get them some significant advantages.
And I am thinking right now, because very technically you could actually put Ziggs onto top lane and to have instead Urgot in the mid lane, which would make more sense into Galio, just because you will have more kill pressure when you actually put Pyke in there as well. However, it's most likely going to be Ziggs in the mid lane, but I mean, I would really enjoy a bit more unorthodox picks over here.
Alright.
Yes.
Well, I thought if you like that Ziggs so much, then how does the Ziggs into Galio matchup look like? Considering, I mean, assuming that they will go into these positions, because Galio is known for being a really good pretty much anti any AP, and Ziggs, well, he's got a lot of wave clear, and not too much more than that in laning phase.
See, Galio has slowly been shifting out of the tank position and into into mage and burst heavy champion. So it's likely not going to be too terrible for Ziggs. It's still going to be mostly a farm fest because both these champions will just be able to clear out the waves with a few of their abilities and then be able to just hop around the entire map and affect other lanes. But the reason why I would want, again, Ziggs to not really be mid lane is because even though he is a proper mid laner, he doesn't know how to roam, okay? He cannot really do too terrifyingly much, so Topaz don't really have too much synergy, at least when it comes to individual champion interactions. But you have this Olaf, and I mentioned that Goldberg can have a lot of trouble when he's going to be facing some damage heavy champions, and that is exactly what Urgot and Olaf are. if they both show up in his lane, he's going to have a lot of trouble keeping himself alive as the Scion.
Alright, we are getting right now...
Can they hear you? We never know, Color. Apparently they can't you can't hear her. It's okay. We're talking to ourselves here.
Yeah, that's why I'm relaying the information.
Yes. Okay, so...
Okay.
Yeah, so there will be a new pro draft.
Apparently up to the Yasuo pick, so the first 3 bans, first 3 picks will stay, and then the rest of the pro draft will be redone, since Oldboys do not agree with the placeholder bug. Whatever, please fix pro draft. So, looks like... I mean, okay, the last 2 picks for both of the teams might change, but we still have the cores that stay pretty much the same. The Gragas, Scion, Braum for Oldboys are staying, so is Pyke, Urgot, and Ezreal. So we can still talk about these champions.
Yeah, and the fact that Oldboys were actually on the blue side means that they were still the second to pick in the second phase, so it may affect their choice of an AD carry a bit. They may have gone for Kaisa just because, you know, they feel that she's safe against Yasuo. She certainly can be. She can run away from the tornado, but it may affect the second phase of the ban. I don't think it will too much, just because you mentioned that you have these 3 bulky champions locked in, so you need a strong AD carry. What it may change is the mid lane pick. We may actually see proper mage go through, so that can be an interesting choice.
Yeah, alright, the links for the new pro draft are being set out right now, so we'll just jump into redoing of them as we get more time to talk about everything that happened. I just want to touch on one thing that also was the case last time, and it was the 3 bans targeted towards the jungle from the Oldboys. It was the Graves in Italy and the Kazakhs up against Suits. Yes, sorry, Suits. That could still change because now they know that he can play Olaf, and the last 2 bans are not locked in place.
That is certainly an option. Is it actually going to be Is it going to be different with the second phase bans?
Okay, oh sorry, never mind. Bans are locked in, we're just getting the info, so
okay.
My whole theory is out of the window.
You're
inferior analyst. Yes.
Yeah, it's okay. The idea was there. So yeah, the bans are going to stay the same. So it's still a mid lane and jungle open for Topaz at this point. We saw the Olaf come through. And that means that Topaz wants to go with something that can actually fight the enemy jungler early on. It's still going to be the Olaf. Okay, so they're keeping it real. Let's see if Oldboys actually decide to innovate a bit.
Well, it just would be funny if we end up with the same draft.
I'm sorry, I'm just seeing some
yes,
fun things.
Some funny content. Focus on the game.
Yes, I'm
Yes.
sorry, I'll try.
Yeah, okay, Oldboys are actually taking their time. I mean, I would be actually amused if we end up with the same draft, because that means that the remake was literally for nothing. Okay, this does make sense. LeBlanc. It will be the locking.
Interesting. So they are assuming that Topaz are still going to go with an immobile mage into the mid lane, which would be a really good matchup for LeBlanc. I have to agree. If Topaz decide to go with the same mage pick, it's going to be a bit more difficult for them, but it means that they still have the courage, and it's clear that they are now thinking about it. Are they really scared?
Well, give us some good matchup,
please. Yes, 1 second.
Alright, well, I mean, we are...
I'm sorry, you became a robot.
Did I?
Yes, I believe you.
Am I still a robot?
No, you just like
okay,
that.
Good. I was afraid my microphone was breaking down. I don't have another one, so...
No worries, no.
Good. Right now, so we've got like another 5 or so minutes to talk about the team composition. So the things that change, we have a LeBlanc for Oldboys in the mid lane and a Lissandra for Topaz, and those are the only changes. But
those,
right now,
see, they are the only changes, but you can actually put Lissandra into the top lane. I know that I sound like a broken record with the whole mid to top lane shifting, but you can actually swap these champions around. I think at this point, I think Alessandra is going to stay in the mid lane just because of her setup that Suits can utilize to actually set up a kill on this really squishy LeBlanc, but it is actually still a possibility. So at this point, it's actually even a worse matchup for Fiamzu than it was in the beginning, because now you're facing first a really angry Viking that is going to run at you, that is going to be dealing damage. Second, an actual chain CC from Lissandra that you need to pick cleanse for. And third, a really angry pirate that is going to definitely run into your lane and stun you down. So, I'm not sure if they really helped themselves with the remake.
Yeah, not definitely not the greatest thing. I'm seeing some confusion in the Twitch chat. So, we had a bug for Topaz, which meant that the Olaf was a Yasuo, and Oldboys decided to not allow that placeholder. And we just decided to remake the draft but keep all of the bans and first 3 picks for each team. And that is exactly what happened. Olaf Kai'Sa stayed the same, but the mid lane matchup changed. Technically, the last 2 picks for both teams could be changed, but they decided to keep them the same. And yeah, coming back to your point, I agree. That is a tough matchup for your LeBlanc to win, especially that you need to be snowballing. Snowballing into Lissandra is difficult, especially if you don't do that before level 6. And even before level 6, if DC wants to pay a visit to mid lane, there is that glacial path to escape.
Indeed, and we saw that matchup be played out yesterday on stream, LeBlanc against Lissandra, and I mentioned that, yeah, as you said, she does have the claw, and if you do not chain her down efficiently enough, before she actually manages to hop away, LeBlanc doesn't actually get the root early enough for it on its own to actually lock her down in place. This means that she can still die. However, you need really precise execution of the play, where Dizzy jumps in after Lissandra puts down the claw, and he actually interrupts her for long enough for the chain from LeBlanc to actually pop off. It's really specific, and you have to time this really well, but they can actually do something together in that lane, because LeBlanc does have the damage. And you mentioned it, if Lissandra isn't actually careful enough, Fiamzu can still snowball before King Xerath hits his level 6, especially if DC actually comes around. So, mid lane is going to be really interesting with the amount of kills that we're going to likely be seeing there.
Yeah, also before, when we had the Galio, the Supreme topic was obviously much more important. But right now he's still playing the Kai'Sa, and he still will have that Braum and the Cyan to protect him later on in the game. So do you think it is possible for Dizzy and Fiamzu to focus instead on the bot side to get Supreme ahead, rather than snowball this LeBlanc, or is snowballing LeBlanc more viable?
Okay, so it is actually really possible that they still want to funnel into Supreme, you're right. Roaming from possibility, especially if you give up a couple of kills in the mid lane, because at that point you will have Alessandra that you will not kill. You will officially not kill her if you don't snowball against her. So it is possible that Fiamzu just decides to run over to the bot lane, where you will actually have a lot of setup with the Glacial Fissure and the concussion stacks. So they can pull off a lot of good there, but you're playing against Ezreal and Pyke, who both have dashes, who both, have flashes. I'm a rapper, but, they can actually jump away, so it's still going to be relatively difficult to pull off a gank there, but it is a possibility. Topaz drafted themselves a pretty safe, but still aggressive composition, and Oldboys, they need to do this. They need to just match it in the terms of early game pressure and early game activity, where they just actually need to set something up for themselves to just not die to the snowball that Ezreal and Pyke can have.
I mean, oh, sorry, I'm just reading the messages that we are getting through from callers, so I completely lost my train of thought right here.
It's okay.
But I agree. I feel like the plays that I'm looking at in the in the game generally is the jungle early game. That will be a big thing, because Olaf, he's much if he meets a Gragas in the jungle, I am not convinced that Gragas can actually survive this encounter or get out without burning a lot of things. So Suits on this Olaf, he will need to be very, very, very aggressive. And I believe that he can do this, especially when you look at the lanes. They're not really losing lanes, so you can allow yourself to just step into that jungle.
Oh yeah, certainly. I would actually dare say that all of the lanes that Oldboys have locked in for themselves are relatively losing lanes. Or, well, not losing lanes, but a bit to the scale between losing and winning a lane. You'll be getting pushed in as a LeBlanc when you're playing against Lissandra. You will be getting poked and pushed in if you're playing Kai'Sa into Ezreal, and you will be definitely getting pushed in if you're playing Sion into Urgot. So, Suits actually has a really free range to do essentially whatever he wants around the jungle. So, given that Gragas isn't the best of duelists, especially before he picks up the first AP enchantment on his jungle item, he cannot really deal too much damage, and that is something that Olaf can utilize and actually go for these 1v1s or maybe even 2v2s if King Xerath just pushes the lane and goes with him there.
One thing though that you guys on the stream cannot see but we can is that Fiamzu, you said that that the Lissandra pick will force the cleanse, or it should force the cleanse, and I agree, it should. It didn't. Fiamzu is still going for the ignite. What that means is he has got the extra damage to force some advantages, but if he gets caught out, he has no way out. He has to buy the QSS if he wants to, and that will delay his build.
Okay, so I didn't actually notice this, but that is a really subpar choice for summoner spell. I'm sorry, I just gotta say it. Okay, so the thing is, if you pick Ignite into this matchup, it will help you before level 6 and even a bit after that. But the problem is, you're playing against Lissandra and you're not playing solo queue. You're definitely going to be facing more people in the mid lane as the game rolls on. You're not going to be there solo. So if you don't pick Cleanse against Lissandra, and you're playing LeBlanc, you're not going to have the time to actually get yourself into a safe distance, and you're going to be blown up immediately as soon as Lissandra hits that level 6. So, Fiamzu is putting all of his cards. He has to get a couple of kills before level 6, and it isn't something that we have really seen him do a lot before. So maybe he can surprise us, but given that he has chosen Ignite, we talked about the fact that both the Fiamzu and DC can actually go to bot lane. I think that instead, they will be focusing on this mid lane, because, well, LeBlanc has to get a couple of kills there, or she's just completely and utterly useless as soon as Lissandra hits level 6.
Alright, looks like we are actually now getting finally into the game. And we are getting a standard cover from both of these teams. We already see a ward being dropped in the Pixel Brush on the bot side. The one in the top side will probably be placed later, both by Fiamzu, and I expect Suits or someone else to venture there. Teams really like them. I'm just seeing them all the time.
Oh yeah, it's just, you know, nice little, not boring early game, as again a certain someone would say from the casting team, you know. But yeah, so far, not much actually going on in terms of setting up a play. Topaz could have had gone for some cheese with the pike, as if you have a hook on a support, you can just instantly go for an invade and likely get something done with there. However, they decided against it, and instead will be just going for a nice little standard clear, as Suits will be likely going into the red buff, then clearing a couple of his camps and backing for the Predator boots to actually be useful.
Yeah, not Predator back. Actually, both of the junglers have the Predator, so we could be just seeing both of them clearing up the red side, recall for the boots, and then start doing something. So this could actually be a game where we see a late scuttler, and I mean, one of the junglers could try and utilize it, because if you know that the enemy jungler will try and back off early, then you could be going for the trap. But I feel like right now I'm getting into the territory of the mind games of the mind games, or if they think that you think that I know that you know, and I'm not good at that thing. So
it's okay.
Actually a hook onto Supreme will force the flash early in the bot side. A good play from Art of Creation, forcing the summoners early on.
That is actually a really important summoner spell because bursting out a flash on an AD carry this early on, whenever you're playing against a support with a hook, means that it is going to be tremendously easier for them to actually hit their spells and kill you. So, you know, good on Art of Creation for being aggressive this early on, and that is exactly what they need right now. I can't believe they've done that.
Oh, Suit is invading Dizzy. Oh, Dizzy will secure his own blue buff with that smite. So, not really an unsuccessful invade from Suits, but he doesn't get anything out of it either. And both of the junglers will just go back to farming. Probably will be looking for that Predator boots fairly soon.
Yeah, they will just return to their own home. And it's actually surprising to me that they haven't gone for the boots just yet. It actually means that they don't want to be ganking too early on, which surprises me in the case of Dizzy, because I mentioned that he needs to find some opportunities in the mid lane where Fiamzu is already popped 2 of the charges on his corrupting pod.
Well, he will be looking at the top side, body slam flash, finding the lookup onto Prelish. Now, the Urgot is very low and the first blood will be secured for Oldboys.
Well, I'm an inferior analyst, aren't I? I said that he doesn't want to go for an early gank, and instead he roams over to the top lane and decides to pick up Prelish. And that's a nice little kill, making sure that Urgot doesn't snowball out of control. A good body slam into flash, just interrupting Prelish's own dash. That's a mouthful. But yeah, good jungle pressure coming from this.
Yeah, and he gets the gank before the boots. That is one kill that will help him. He is now slightly ahead in items of Suits, and if he uses that proper rolling on other lanes, because, well, shutting down an Urgot, it is good, but it's not gonna win you the game.
It definitely isn't, but it's way better than if you actually had a snowballed Urgot on your team. So
Yeah.
or on the enemy team, not on your team. That would be
Yeah, having a snowballed Urgot on your team is one thing that you want to see when you're 2-2 in your silver promos.
Yes, exactly. But regardless, when you look at mid lane, King Xerath is kind of just absolutely dismantling Fiamzu in terms of farm right now. He is almost 10 CS
Yeah,
ahead.
Dizzy is in the bot lane. He will not find the body slam due to a nice interrupt through the boss hero of Art of Creation. Looks like the gank will end here and now. And yes, I agree, mid lane, like, King Xerath is playing the matchup very, very well, and Fiamzu, he cannot find really anything. He's falling significantly behind already, and the same is true if you look at the top lane.
Yeah, and right now, the window of opportunities that Fiamzu had that I mentioned, it has run out officially. And, well, it hasn't, but it's going to run out really soon. And King Xerath is already picking up the Null Magic Mantle, and will have that level 6 soon. Okay, that isn't an unfortunate smite, Suits. I am so sorry for seeing that.
Yeah, I wasn't seeing that, I assume.
He
Another
missed his-
invade try.
He did try to invade. He smited a big raptor, and he survived with around 200 HP, so Dizzy instead smited him and killed him. But, you know, there was an attempt. That's what we call it.
Yes, he is being proactive. He is trying to do things. Right now in the bot side, we could be seeing some fighting. Looks like both of these will just back out.
However, I want to point out that Art of Creation has been actually playing really well on this pike. At least from the terms of mechanical. He knows how to play pike. He's playing really aggressively with this Ezreal, which is something that he needs to do to level 6. And it's something that he can also utilize post ultimate. But even something like interrupting the Gragas dash is something that you should keep in mind. But now Prelish might be again a bit overextended, isn't he?
Yeah, he's in a 1 versus 2 situation, doesn't have the flash, the Furbeyond Death is landing, and both of them are very low. Goldak will stay just above the threshold. Dizzy trying to go for the kill, and an auto attack will finish Prelish off.
That actually looked like Prelish could actually turn it around for a second there, and that, well, it would have been beautiful. It wasn't, he died instead, but it is something that Dizzy is doing really well, and that is actually paying attention to where all of his lanes are. And Prelish has been overextending a lot to gain these platings, and, well, he hasn't even touched the turret yet. So, you know, that's a bit unfortunate on his part, but it's really good that the Gragas is getting these few kills, because he's going to be able to get the enchantment faster. And at that point, he can choose to be a really bulky man and at that point he can actually offer a lot of protection for Supreme, and at that point, Oldboys can actually start doing some stuff with their teamfighting capability.
Yeah, and at that point, Supreme will just be pretty much untouched. No Galio, as in the first iteration of the draft, so not as much protection, but it is still good enough with Mad Life on the Braum. And he has to say that Goldberg just getting tankier and tankier. DC will be going for the AP enchantment, though, it looks like. So I'm expecting him, once he finishes that, he should be looking to just burst down some targets, because I'm pretty sure we have all seen an AP Gragas get fed. That is not something you want to be facing.
Yeah, a Gragas that has finished his enchantment, Proto Belt, and Rabadons is just it's so lovely. I'd love to see an AP Gragas, but regardless. I want to point out why we haven't really seen Suit in the mid lane. He is going for an invade again, but he decides against it. But it's because King Xerath has just been beating Fiamzu into submission, I dare say. He's currently sitting on about 20 CS lead, and Suits just couldn't come into the lane because he's permanently under Fiamzu's turret. So I thought that there was going to be some action in the mid lane, but apparently King Xerath can do things on his own, as it turns out.
Yeah, he's finding an over 20 CS lead on that Lissandra against LeBlanc, which is really, really good. Yeah, like Fiamzu doesn't really even have any items right now. He's just scraping on some components, sitting only on 600 gold, so even if you recall, he wouldn't have that much. And we are already 9 minutes in, the clock is slowly ticking. King Xerath has his ultimate long time ago, so it is already hard for Fiamzu to do anything.
Yeah, and the thing that I'm actually looking at is Ezreal right now, because he is sitting on a bit of a CS lead over Kai'Sa, but he needs a couple of kills to actually pop off and get a really good power spike, because the lineup of Topaz don't have a scaling team. They will have a relatively good team fight in the form of Lissandra, Urgot, and Ezreal, but ultimately they are a poke team, and well, if they give enough time to Oldboys, they're just going to
look at the mid lane. Dizzy goes in, forces out the Frozen Tomb with the explosive cast. Now the barrel is a flash away from King Xerath. Flash forward from Fiamzu. Ignite is taking down and will get taken down. King Xerath as Fiamzu is trying to get away. The Undertone is there for the slow, but Distortion takes Fiamzu to relative safety for now. Flash forward from Suits. He goes in with the Ragnarok and takes Fiamzu down. A 1-for-1 trade into the end.
And Dizzy has just been playing so well this game, I cannot underestimate it. He's just been everywhere, and he's been putting down so much pressure, and even though Fiamzu died at the end, it is really important that he now has a kill to his name, because, well, Blanc needs to snowball, and getting a kill in return for some of the lost creeps is a really good way to start to actually build some of the items.
Lost chapter already completed on Fiamzu, and yeah, that is one kill that will help him. The problem I have for Oldboys is how do they translate it into something more, because despite the kill lead, the gold is even. The dragon will spawn, it will be the second Mountain Drake, and when you look at the vision, when you look at the pressure, Topaz just have so much more resources around the bot side to get that dragon once it spawns.
Indeed, and Dizzy has been doing so much for his team, but he cannot do everything, and the bot lane is going as we expected it to. Topaz just, again, pushing the lineup of Oldboys under their turrets, so they cannot actually get any, not aggressive, but any actual good vision wards down. So that is why Topaz just have unrestricted vision around this dragon pit, and can just decide to take it at will.
Yeah, the dragon is spawning in 3 seconds. Fiamzu does pop down a control ward. Suits is now recalling back to base, so it won't be an immediate dragon start. One thing that I want to sway your attention to are the boots of Dizzy. He has mobility boots.
Okay, interesting, yeah, and it actually goes well with the gameplay that he has showed us. He loves to gank. He is a jungler that won't just farm. He loves to go around and actually get some nice little opportunities for his own team, and building mobility boots means that he can do that even more efficiently than before, because he can be on top lane and suddenly he's on bot, just killing everyone.
Ooh, a fight in the bot lane going in. Nice flash from Madlife to avoid the death from below. Now Gamex is running low. Here has been already used, and he goes in. Supreme gets the kill. This is down in the bot lane, but teleport is jumbled for Topaz. King Zerat comes in on half HP. A nice cast from Dizzy, but doesn't really accomplish too much. Two members are going very, very low. Supreme can't he pick up the kills. Dizzy gets one. Supreme falls down in return. That is a 2-4-2 fight for now. Dizzy now finally against Suits. Ragnarok still available. Frozen Tomb is not there for King Zerat. This is running. He tries to go with the body slam, but looks like Dizzy gets the kill, and here goes Fiamzu. It's a 3-4-3. The fight just does not stop. Looks like Suits and Fiamzu, do they want to juke it out? They will stop right now. There was even some fighting in the top side, but in the end, the fight goes even in kills.
That was actually a really, really even team fight that will actually benefit not even the team. It's going to benefit Suits. He has picked up 3 kills on his own there. He is currently now sitting on 4 kills. And if there is a fed Olaf on the enemy team, you know that you just won't kill him, at least until you get some actual good burst. So you have now a kill on Fiamzu, which can be one of the, what's the term? One of the criteria for that. But still, Suits is going to be a really beefy boy. But it's important that we see Oldboys actually fight back, and that they don't just, you know, sit back in their base. Because even though they have the scaling, they cannot just let Topaz do whatever they want.
Yeah, Topaz are even finding a gold lead after it all. A very slim one, I have to add, just 500 or below 500. Now with the turret platings off, we could be seeing teams going for these multi-man sieges, trying to actually break open the objectives and just speed up the pace of this game.
Can see that definitely happen. Art of Creation is sitting in the bot lane looking for something, but in the end he decides against it. And right now the Rift Herald is still up. It can be objective for the teams to focus around. And there might be some gang happening in the top lane if Yamzu and Dizzy both decide to go against the Zergok.
Well, Dizzy is going in with the body slam. A nice cast brings Privilege. Got more than enough HP, will flash away. Fiamzu does land the chains, and they will connect with the Wood. Ignite is down. Fiamzu gets the kill, but right now Suits is looking to just run him down. Pulls down the Ragnarok. Fiamzu trying to run away, does manage to juke him with the distortion. Suits though, he just gets out of there. Dizzy is still on the chase. The Predator has been popped though, and that is definitely an Olaf that is out.
Yeah, Olaf just ran out, and he's not coming back. Even clears the ward as a bit of a BM in the end, but it's interesting to see Topaz just getting caught out, and it feels like they
got King Zerat. He's going into the bot lane, a double root into the double stun, and that is just so much AoE ability. That one below does not get a kill, and Supreme actually gets K-Max. He doesn't die yet until now. King Zerat will pick it up with the Ice Shard. But we might be seeing a trade of turrets right now, as the Topaz they are going for the bot side. Suits is still going on to Madlife. The Unbreakable is there, but Olaf will get the kill. Will he get out? No, it will be a trade, but the first turret goes in favor of Topaz.
It does go into Topaz, however, Oldboys will reply with taking a turret of their own in the mid lane. But right now, Topaz are looking to escalate the speed of things at least a tiny bit, but they are losing some something in return all over the map, and it feels a bit that there may be some communication issues right now. We see it from the a bit sketchy teleports that happened in that one fight a few minutes ago, where King Zerat just jumped in on half HP and died immediately. So that might be something that they should work on, but so far they haven't really accumulated enough of a lead to be able to close the game out just yet, and that may be a problem for them, since Oldboys now have the Stormraiser finished on Kaisa, and it's going to get only worse from here.
Already the recurve ball is sitting in Supreme's inventory, only a matter of time before he picks up that gear into the Rage Blade. More importantly though, the GameX is also going towards his 2-item power spike, and we cannot forget what Ezreal will do, especially that it looks like he's going for the Triforce, so that will be a lot of damage once he completes that item and stacks his mana mune.
Oh, certainly. He isn't going for the new build, which is building actually Triforce first and then going straight for the Gunblade, so, you know, he's a bit old school, we could say. Currently just stacking his passive onto the Rift Herald. And the state of the game right now is relatively calm, isn't it? It feels a bit serene. I'm sorry.
Yay.
Yay. The Skull Crab has been taken by Oldboys in the top side, so they at least will know if Topaz decides to go for the Herald, which has been started by Suits. And looks like Oldboys actually do want to contest it.
Yeah, Oldboys, they are sticking outside that Herald. It is already on half of its HP. Looks like Suits will just nope out of there. However, the Predator is coming in from the city. Glacial Path will deter any further engage. This is
no.
He does mess up the body slam flash. The cask doesn't even bring back Art of Creation, and that is not something that you want to see, but I guess it did the job of getting Topaz away from the Herald.
Meanwhile, in the top lane, Ezreal almost died, but yes, that's something that we call a little bit of a noob, because that was sad to see. But alas, they will be able to get a Herald most likely as a result, unless Suits and King Zera can do something around this Baron pit.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if it works, it works. This is played, got Topaz off the Herald. Some questionable means, but right now we could be seeing another fight. Fiamzu actually goes back into King Zerath with the distortion. The Glacial Path is going in. King Zerath is on the way. The Herald will go into Dis's inventory, and the fight by Topaz will just be disengaged for him.
And in the end, Oldboys actually come out on top of to DC. Kind of, yeah, it was thanks to DC, and this man has just played such a pivotal role in Oldboys, at least so far. And right now, okay, I was looking at the dragon pit, because there is some fighting going on.
Ooh, Fiamzu is jumping in onto K-Max. This really solo, but he will get taken down by King Zera. Madlife picks up the kill in the end. This he goes in onto the Lissandra, who cannot get away. The cask finishes the job. 2 kills for 1 and a dragon.
Well then, that's a lot of things happening at the same time, but that has been the 3rd Mountain Drake taken for Topaz, and well, you never want to play against a lot of Mountain Drakes, especially when there is 3 of them. Luckily for Oldboys, Topaz don't really have that great of a siege. They have more of a poke comp. They have relatively a lot of wave clear in the form of Lissandra, but when it comes to pure siege, they will find themselves lacking a bit. But they will be still dealing a lot of damage to turrets and this Baron that will be spawning in just 3 seconds.
Yeah, Ezreal might not be the fastest Baron taking AD carry. Well, put 3 Mountain Drakes on it, and any AD carry will do to take that Baron very, very fast. One thing though that I want to just mention is this build. He has Predator with mobility and Righteous Glory. We're going to see some Deja Vu style Gragas. You will have seen him in that place before.
Oh, god damn it. Okay, yes, I unfortunately have to agree with you. We've seen it actually when he ran over at, I believe it was Art of Creation with that one little messed up body slam into Flash. He already had a lot of move speed, and with this he's just going to be able to zoom through the entire map, so that's going to be the fun to watch. We're not going to see him being built into AP, which makes sense. They still want Supreme to be the main damage dealer. Is currently sitting on that recurve roll and pickaxe, so
yeah, and Relish is finding himself in a 1 versus 2 situation. The barrier has been popped already, as well as the flash freebie on that is still available, but there is just no low health bars on Oldboys, and Relish will get taken down by Fiamzu. No response across the map apart. Actually, I guess Topaz will just take that mid lane turret.
Oh, you guess you will just take the turret. Yeah, so Topaz at least replied with the mid lane turret, so good for them. However, Oldboys will look to take the bot lane turret instead. So in the end, a better trade for Oldboys, who are ironically enough controlling more of the map than Topaz right now. If you look at the vision around the Baron pit, they don't really have too many wards there. They have just the Scuttle Crab, but that might just be enough for them because it'll be a while until it actually goes down.
Ooh, this he goes in with that bag as the cask brings back Art of Creation, who flashes away immediately. And now a teleport going onto the backside by Brillish. Madlife uses the Glacial Figure already. That is a nice knockup. And a slowing zone back. Supreme in the back, and just getting ran down by Suits. But who's running down? Suits is running very low. Flashes onto Supreme. And Supreme takes him down. Only 1 kill going in. But that is pretty much all of the engage from Topaz. And they will have to back out.
And however, Fiamzo is actually roaming around this river. Okay, it looks like he won't be going there, but that could have been a nice little continuation of the fight. But Art of Creation has cancelled so many of the engages of Dizzy. It's insane. He always hits the bone skewer perfectly.
Oh, Fiamzu coming in onto the backline, gets out of creation and gets out. Fiamzu, that's a beautiful play.
That was beautiful. That warmed my heart. I know that I trash talked him a bit here, especially with the choice of Ignite, but he's showing us that it works, as Krillish is just trying to run down the pain train. But he says no and just zooms out of there. So
Yeah, Goldberg does the... He's out.
he just what's the film called?
Which film?
With the Polar Express?
Yeah, I think.
The animated one that's apparently turned into a meme.
Oh yes.
later.
Well, I mean, let's not talk about memes and movies because Krillish, he looks to get caught out once again, but Fiamzu is running very low and Suits tries to go in with the Predator as well, has got the Ragnarok available, but will decide against any further commitment. The True Shot Barrage will not hit Fiamzu and he just gets out alive.
Yeah, and luckily Krillish didn't get caught out once again. The thing is, whenever you see LeBlanc running at Urgot won't die, so you always know that there is going to be someone else there. But in this case, the Braum was way too far behind LeBlanc to actually be able to contribute to the cause. So, well, nothing happened there, but Krillish has showed us a lot this game that he can be caught out, and his score shows it. He has almost 200 creeps, but he has 4 deaths, which, well, isn't the optimal score.
Looks like the fourth Drake will be spawned by the Art of Creation. He's looking for the pick. Will find Wildlife, not necessarily the person we want to pick in, but just some hope will land. And the next dragon is spawned. It is the Cloud Drake, but it is just the Cloud Drake, and unless Topaz or Oldboys get a clear advantage over that, it will be most likely used to try and force some Baron situation. And if you look at Topaz, they are already clearing out division, and there are now some pings towards that Baron.
Yeah, and the lineup of Oldboys actually may not be in position. They aren't even expecting it to be taken. Kaisa and Braum, now they are running over there, but, well, that's 3 Mountain Drakes. Luckily they don't have something like that Kaisa that would just speed things up even more, but...
Desi is behind the pit, has got no flash, has got the body slam, but he will just be blocked by Art of Creation. The Baron easily secured by Suits and Topaz. They're just getting out with the free Baron.
And, well, that's what we call a noob in the history, ladies and gentlemen. So a nice little Baron being taken by the lineup Topaz will mean that they are going to be able to speed up the game quite a bit. Kaisa doesn't have enough items yet to actually be able to really, you know, do something in the team fights. She just still pretty much dies without really doing anything. So they don't really have a good guarantee for a team fight, and now Topaz are actually going to be able to just split push, which is something that they've been doing the entire game. So they'll just continue, except this time it's going to be much faster.
Yeah, the Goldie now in favor of Topaz, and they are just grouping up mid lane as a 5. And now we're going to see that pole composition being so much more scary with that Baron buff. Goldberg is just trying to clear it out, but this turret is all but set to fall. Nothing really that all this can be. And it just will be secured like that.
Just like that, just like with the snap of your fingers, perfectly balanced, as all things should be. Topaz are just running over, taking some of the jungle farm from Dizzy, unfortunately.
Fiamzo will get hooked back by Art of Creation. Ignite does drop down, but he just gets out with the distortion. It did look dangerous for a moment, but LeBlanc just makes it out.
Yes, that was actually a really nice bone skewer, but alas, LeBlanc is LeBlanc, and she just jumps away, scotch-free. Riot just nerf the champion, please. Now there are 5 people over in the top lane, so we can expect some engages. Dizzy is just standing still.
Dizzy, he is a predator.
He's waiting. Oh, he goes in. The cask does not allow the damage. Fiamzo tries to go in on the enemy, but just falls down again. A 1-for-1 trade for now. Dizzy in the front line is running very low. A second kill will go down. And the Iceborne subjugation from the Lysandra is doing so much work. A double kill from Sarah. Krillish tries to go in. He has to flash out of there. Will just survive. Oh no, the ignite from my life takes him down in the end. But that is a 3-4-2 fight in favor of Topaz.
So I think that Dizzy tried to go for the solo queue strategy of baiting the enemy that he's AFK. Interesting.
Very interesting indeed, but Supreme goes in, gets suits, and now GameX is also running very low. The Zonias from King Zerath will be used, but that is just not enough. A triple kill for Supreme, and he is saving this game right now.
That is just purely overextended at this point. Giving 3 kills over to Zaya, over to Kaisa is just not something that you can really afford if she is going to scale into a hyper carry. And well, they did win the team fight on the account of Dizzy messing up the engage a bit. I'm not quite sure what happened there, because it felt like he actually body slammed and then flashed out so that he didn't really hit anyone. So, you know, that's something that he should definitely work on. But just like that, the gold lead has been nullified once again, so both teams are relatively even. However, Topaz still have 3 Mountain Drakes and now control a lot of the objectives, so it's still going to be in favor of them.
Yeah, I mean, the game is right now pretty much back into this even state, and no objectives spawning anytime soon. So now both of these teams will just try to play around the vision. The Dragon is now spawning in 2 minutes. It will be the Inferno, so this one is worth fighting over. I mean, the Mountain Drakes are good as well, but you want to get that more damage on the LeBlanc, on the Lysandra. Really, anyone having more damage is generally considered to be good. And yeah, we are now entering a stalemate once again.
Once again a stalemate, but the lineup of Topaz still have a lot of burst damage. They can still win a teamfight just by bursting out the carries of Oldboys, which at this point is Supreme, Tiamzu, and Dizzy. So if one of them falls, it's highly likely that it's going to be a team fight for Topaz to win. If they don't, however, manage to get a good engage, it should be a one that Oldboys can actually position around properly with their front line in the front and backline in the back.
Fiamz is trying to go into Art of Creation once again. He's looking for these assassination opportunities, but isn't really finding too many of them, but doesn't lose anything in return, so it is still a net gain, I guess, for Oldboys.
Yeah, a bit net positive, and a bit of an interesting itemization coming from Fiamzu, opting for the Moral Anomicon second. I personally would take something like the Lysandri's, just because Topaz don't really have too much healing, because GameX didn't even pick up Blade of the Ruined King, so, you know, a bit of a strange pickup, but LeBlanc right now doesn't have too many items to actually be fulfilling her purpose in a team comp, which is just to blow up the squishies. So, right now, Fiamzu is a bit, I dare say, not quite useful. He needs a couple more kills to actually, you know, do something in those fights. And so right now, he's just a bit of a nuisance more than anything.
I mean, the Morello Nomicon will reduce the heal onto Lysandra if she decides to self-ult when Fiamzu goes in, so it does have some value, but right now we might be getting a fight as the Drake is started, and always they don't give up. Dizzy goes in and steals the Dragon, and the fight is in full swing right now. Blizzard is in the backline, he will use the Frozen Tomb right onto Supreme, and now the Zone Skill just by so much time. Goldberg in the front line is just getting cut down with all the damage that Topaz have. King Zerath gets the kill in the end, and Oldboys, they are retreating right now. They don't want to take this fight. It will be a 1-for-1 in the end as Suits falls to Goldberg.
And this was actually a really well thought out team fight from Topaz. They separated the tank from the rest, where King Zerath just kind of sat there and, well, rooted everyone down, and so Oldboys' attention turned towards him, which isn't something that should have had. Sorry, which isn't something that should have happened. Well thought out team fight by them, but in the end it's a 1-for-1, and Dizzy stole the Drake. And if no team wants to pick up Dizzy right now, well, I don't know what the hell you guys are watching, because he's been playing really well this game.
He definitely has. All the ganks he has made, he managed to also steal that Infernal, and yes, he did lose the Baron, but I think that is a team, team blame overall, because they just weren't in their position, and you can't do everything. But yeah, Dizzy has been playing well with some oopsies. I think we have to mention that.
Yes.
He has made some very obvious mistakes, and I feel like if he just is more careful and thinks about his engages, then he can still carry this game very much.
Well, it was more of mechanical mistakes rather than some game knowledge mistakes, so I still think that Dizzy is a really good and strong jungler. And at this point, I am looking at Kaisa because she has finished 3 items and is sitting on that QSS. So any of the first CCs that is going to land on her, something like that Pike stun maybe, or that Lissandra ult, is going to be nullified almost immediately, as the Topaz may be just looking for a fight around this Baron pit.
Yeah, Dizzy goes in with the body slam flash and brings Seraph back into the team. He does use the Frozen Throne himself into the zone as buying some more time, and right now she just goes in with that Ragnarok into the backline. Fiamzo still stays alive and Supreme is unstoppable. Dizzy in the front line with Goldberg just soaking up the damage, and Pillage just cannot do the same. Fiamzo goes forward, goes in with the distortion, a triple kill for Supreme. GameX is trying to get away. Is Supreme going for more? No, they will just turn back towards the Baron. And Oldboys just won that fight completely.
And exactly this is what happens when you pick this team composition. You have no way to actually deal with Sion, with Gragas, with Braum. And at that point, Oldboys just win the match. Sorry, not the match. Not yet. They just win the instantly. And at this point, you have Supreme, who will be dealing a lot of damage. He got a triple kill. He is sitting on a 1000 gold of a bounty on his own head. And, well, the timer is slowly ticking. If every fight goes like this for Oldboys, where they just initiate it perfectly, well, it's looking grim for Topaz.
And Topaz really need to invest more in the vision. Twitch chat has been slandering Topaz for quite some time now, but well, GameX still has got the Doran's Blade. And he could just be buying control wards at that point. And if Topaz just invested some more vision, then Dizzy would probably never get that engage onto King Xerath. And I mean, Topaz would just have so much more space because you've got this Ezreal. GameX needs space in the team fight to dish out the most damage that he can. And when you don't see your opponents, you need to assume they are everywhere they're not.
They are everywhere. They're just... It's like Viet Cong, honestly, at this point. Because suddenly, you will see Dizzy just jumping at you, just engaging the team fight. And suddenly, you are in a position where you don't want to be. Because Topaz don't have any real tank. So if they get caught out, and especially if it's someone other than Lissandra, you're almost immediately screwed, because yes, Suits has some survivability, yes, Pillage can do that as well, but...
Well, Topaz, they're going just for the mid lane inhibitor. The cast brings GameX back, but not quite enough. And here goes Supreme into the backline. He does not quite get the kill. Things are lose the room on himself, but Pillage gets the kill with the Fear Beyond Death. Supreme is down, and Topaz, they are striking back, already getting 3 kills. Goldberg left to dead. Arnold Creation gets the double kill. Fiamzo the only person alive. And Topaz, they will be looking to end this game here and now.
And that is just tragic, but they still have this Baron buff wave of minions to chew through, and it may not be the game just yet, but
25 seconds on Supreme and a full stack of Topaz just hitting on those stars. Fiamzo cannot go it. Now he actually does tries to get the kill onto GameX, will succeed in doing so, but the Nexus is exposed, and after 35 minutes Topaz will take the win in game 1.
that is just that is unfortunate for the lineup of Oldboys. Unfortunately, a lot of unfortunates there. It almost looked like they had the game. They almost had it. Every single fight that Dizzy managed to engage properly was won by them. And then the one that he didn't quite get the engage and overextended a bit, they just immediately lose because they were fighting in their own base. And that is a bit of, I'm not going to say undeserved victory, but certainly a one to be salty about, because Oldboys could have had definitely won that game. But alas, we're going to be moving into game 2, and I'm just hoping that, you know, Oldboys can come back into the series, because they have showed us some nice plays, I have to say.
Yeah, well, before we go into the break, just last announcement: the roster for Topaz for game 2, announced by the coach quite a while back, will be Silent Knight instead of King Xerath, and Sensational instead of GameX. Other people are just staying the same, so with that we will go into the short break before the game 2 to see if Oldboys can take us to game 3 or if Topaz will just take the 2-0 win and go home. Hello and welcome everyone. We are just minutes away from going into the pro draft for the game 2 after a pretty shaky game 1. I'm still Kachka, still joined by Karim, and I mean, what do you have to say about the first game?
What I have to say about that is that they aren't getting the victorious frog, that's for sure. It was a very hard-fought victory for Topaz. They managed to achieve it nonetheless off of a bad engage off Dizzy, and I feel like that pretty much summed up the entire game. They didn't really show to be the more dominant team, nor the most dominant team in the league, at least right now. But I think most of the issues right now that we have seen in the first game are actually based on the team being put together very recently. Again, I mentioned it in the pre-show that a lot of these teams are new, and so the players don't really know each other just yet. There may be some miscommunications, and I feel like that's been the name of the game for Topaz just yet. So while they may not look strong right now, I think that going into the split, as these issues are actually ironed out more and more, they have the capability to actually perform some great things, and we'll just have to see if Silent Knight and Sensational, who will be subbing in for the second game, are just as capable.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I was just reading something. I'm very sorry. Yeah, Sensational and the Silent Knight getting subbed in will be hopefully a change for Topaz, because even if you just look at the sheer ranks of the players, which is something that I personally not like bringing in, since we are looking at the teams, not the players, well, Topaz have a huge advantage, and it really didn't look like so. And Sensational, we have already seen him play in the Wintersplit before, and he was playing, well, very well, might be an understatement.
Yes, he has had a lot of nice little plays. There is a clip that we actually wanted to feature in the pre-show, but there were some technical difficulties with it, so we couldn't. So, you know, he is a player capable of pulling off really great mechanical plays, and let's hope that we're going to see that after this project that has started will expire.
Yeah, so first two bans are targeted towards the supports, Thresh and Rakan taken off, and Topaz follow it up with a Galio ban.
The Galio actually wasn't played in the first game, but it was sorry, not banned. It was locked in the first pro draft. We have two, but it was picked in the first pro draft, and it could have been a really good counterpick to what Topaz were planning to play, so it makes sense that they take it off the board. Oldboys are still running down the same bans as last game, at least thus far. Rakan, make sure that they don't get the Love's Duo, and that Sensational doesn't have that strong support with the Xayah that he is known for. And Topaz will just line it out with a Braum, who has been the bane of existence for Art of Creation in the last game.
Yeah, well, Cassiopeia is the first pick. It looks like it was banned away by Oldboys, I believe, last time. Now it is just left open, and it just will be taken.
Ooh.
But an Aatrox, which will, I mean, I'm going to guess that it will go into the mid lane, because Fiamzu does like to play the champion. But it could still be flexed, so I will not go down that rabbit hole too much for now.
Yeah, I think that we have seen actually Fiamzu play Aatrox every now and then, and actually have really fond memories of it, but now Pyke also coming through, and already it's starting to look relatively scary for Topaz, because, well, if there is something that we know about Mad Life, and something that we have always put into the spotlight whenever we casted it, he has an amazing Pyke. He's really good on it, and while Art of Creation certainly isn't anything to be scoffed at, I'm looking at what can what can Mad Life actually do with this main pick of his.
Well, look at the other side though. Topaz locking themselves Lucian and Graves. Lucian, well, I don't think anyone needs introduction to him. He's a very, very strong early game champion, and putting Sensational on it will be scary for Oldboys, but we also have the Graves going in for suits.
It is just a nice little, what do you call it, a comfort pick for suits. It, you know, I mentioned the boasting that he did in the Discord yesterday, or was it today?
It was yesterday.
Yeah, it was yesterday, so he does have a good Graves, so hopefully we can see him pull off some nice little cheeky shotgun shells. On the other side, Oldboys decided to lock in the Tristana, which once again means that they want Pyke to actually roam around the map. which isn't something that Topaz did last game. Pyke was pretty much locked in his own lane, and hopefully Oldboys are actually going to be able to utilize this Pyke to create some damage around the map rather than just the bot lane.
Yeah, and the Gragas getting taken away by Topaz. Desi was apparently too good on that champion, and well, apart from those few oopsies, he was very, very good. So I'm not surprised to seeing that taken away. That is in the least, though.
I think that may be a placeholder. I really am just not anything at this point. Is the least, I'll be very pleasantly surprised because it isn't something that we see every now and then. Dizzy has had a nice game on Gragas, and Ellie's, while she isn't the same kind of champion, she still can be really gank heavy and gank focused. So it still makes sense that he decides to pick that champion. And well, it looks like a boring top lane for Topaz.
Yeah, Poppy though, it is something that Polish does play apart from his Renekton, so he should be pretty good on the pick, and... Alright.
Oh, okay.
Okay. What is going... Okay, Poppy or Science support?
So it may actually be both, but I would actually prefer Poppy, because you have your Tristana and Pyke lane. Jax, okay, I'm gonna elaborate on that later, but when you have a Pyke Tristana bot lane, you are most certainly wanting for Pyke to be able to leave the game, not the game, please don't, the lane, and actually move over to mid lane. So Tristana's only escape is the rocket jump. And what does Poppy have? Well, she does have Steadfast Presence, which can block jumps. So if you ever leave Tristana alone in lane and Poppy is the support, she will most certainly die, because you will have Lucian and Poppy against you. So it actually locks the Pyke back in the bot lane. So I think that would be a good pick, but again, it may be Sion. Who knows, honestly, with these teams.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait to see where the picks are going. I mean, right now as we are talking, the teams are just going through the same draft in the client, so we have some time to talk about the teams in general, because I feel like both teams have elements of both early and late game. On top, as you've got the Lucian for the early game aggression and Cassiopeia to just guide them into the late game. On Oldboys, you have Elise for early game playmaking, and Tristana, which will take over in the late game.
And also Jax, who actually scales to be just an unstoppable monster in the late game and can actually really shut down Lucian in the mid to late game. So it's a nice composition from both teams, and I actually like that Topaz took less aspects for the early game aggression and put some of them into late game, because it is something that they are good at. We saw that the fights that they fought, the actual team fight, they were good at it. They showed us that they can team fight. It's just the problems with actually getting into the position to team fight that has been causing them some trouble. And so getting this engage option in the form of Sion may be something to help them with actually setting up a good front line when you have this many tanks.
Yeah, just to confirm, right now in the client, Prilish has locked in the Sion, so that is the Poppy support. And you mentioned it, Tristana, when she is alone in the lane, you can just even flash E on the Poppy, not even into the wall. Just put down your Steadfast Presence and that Tristana isn't going anywhere. I guess at level 6 she can defend herself, and then you have to be more creative with how you want to approach her. But Sensational is still playing a Lucian. That is still a strong champion that can burst pretty much anyone.
And that is actually really good that Pyke will actually be locked in the bot lane, because in the mid lane you have Cassiopeia playing against Aatrox, and sorry, Cassiopeia is already going to be having some troubles fighting with Aatrox. Aatrox will have a lot of damage, but I'm sorry, my throat right now. There we go.
Alright.
Okay, so Cassiopeia should be able to sustain herself throughout the laning phase, but Aatrox can still deal some good damage to her. If he had Pyke in the lane, it would be just detrimental for this poor snake lady. So making sure that Pyke cannot roam over to mid lane is really important, because it allows Cassiopeia to actually play her own. It's just farming, and then destroying people in the teamfighting portion of the game.
Yeah, and Aatrox is going into Fiamsu's hands in the mid lane, and that is one of the picks that Fiamsu is actually pretty good at. He's capable of finding the leads, maybe not necessarily snowballing out of control, since that is not something we have seen from him really in Division 1 yet, but he can do this. And against a Cassiopeia, if you have got Elise for the gank setup, and if that Pyke is allowed to leave lane, you could be seeing just a 3-man goon squad coming into the mid lane, and there is nothing that the Silent Knight will be able to do.
Yeah, and what I'm actually looking at as well is Suits' interaction with this new jungle pick for Dizzy, because Elise and Graves will have a comparatively similar amount of damage, however Graves still will be able to kill her 1v1, and if you will have this pushing lane in the form of Cassiopeia into Aatrox in the early game, you can be looking at a lot of possible 2v1s, as Aatrox will be pinned under his turret by the minion wave. So if we're going to see any invades, it's going to be this game with Cassiopeia and Graves.
Well, I am looking forward to that very, very much. But let's talk about the early game, because we already have identified the elements of both team compositions that will be crucial to that early game success. But how do you which team really has the edge over each other? Because there are just so many counters, and which one is the easiest to execute over their opponent?
Which team comp is the easiest to execute? Okay, that is an interesting question. We can look at it from the standpoint of the lanes themselves. I think that at least in the terms of who will be winning, at least in terms of creeps, it should be in the bot lane for in the mid lane should be for Topaz, and in the top lane it's a bit of a skill matchup, but Goldberg should be able to hold his own and also bully Prilish. If he just, decides to do that, that'll be fun. But I actually see options for both of these teams to snowball. You mentioned Elise and Aatrox having a lot of damage and setup, and that is something that can definitely happen. The problem is Cassiopeia has cleanse, so the fact that they have just one combined reliable CC, which is the skill shot of Elise, it's a bit subpar for a guaranteed kill at mid lane, but they can definitely do something there, as well as in the top lane. Prilish got caught out a lot in the last game, and I think that it's something that Dizzy and Goldberg will just look to, repeat. They will just want to go to top lane and just kill this poor Syad over and over and over again. And bot lane, well, it should be relatively stale for Oldboys.
Yeah, you said it, Prilish got caught out last game, and Goldberg, well, it was Dizzy getting the kills, but Goldberg on that Cyan last game, not really the person you want to get too much gold into. Right now he is playing a Jax, and Jax, once he gets his items, he's an insane split pusher that just should be able to deal with Prilish's Cyan no matter what. So if Dizzy decides to pay attention to that top lane and get some gold on the Goldberg's Jax, that was actually quite a mouthful to say, it can be a very reliable win condition for Oldboys, especially when you look at Topaz and what they showed last game. They didn't really show too much cohesion, and can they stop a split push if Oldboys played well?
Yeah, that is something that we'll have to look at. If our lovely Mr. Goldberg gets enough gold on his person, he can just turn out of control, as there will still be ways to stop him. However, two of which rely on auto attacking a lot, so it's going to hinder the choices that they can have where they actually want to split the damage a lot. So again, if Goldberg does get the kills, he can be a really big influence. So I think that Elise actually will be roaming mostly around the top lane or in the mid lane. The problem is, I really don't like the Pyke Tristana lane, because they got just counterpicked. They just got counterpicked with that one Poppy, and it's going to be really difficult for them to actually pull that lane off, and it is where a lot of kill pressure is lying for Topaz to just pick up and get in those sweet gold, because, you have Suits, you have Suits, and you will have a lot of damage and setup in the form of Poppy and Lucian.
Alright, well, if I'm not mistaken, we should be going into the game. I mean, I am in the game. I will see the stream with the delay, but the match is going to be started. Game 2 of the Oldboys versus Topaz. And it is
apparently
a pause.
you guys aren't seeing it yet. Lovely.
Okay.
It's fine.
It's a pause.
It's a pause. Okay, well, we're looking at a pause. How lovely is that?
Yes, it is. It is very lovely because we get more time to talk about what we could be seeing in
What
this
we could
game.
be, yeah.
Yes, what we could be.
What
we could
we be?
We could be anything we want.
Is that how that works?
No, I don't think it is.
Okay, well, kind of cynical, but yes, okay. So, let's talk actually about the late game, because we talked a lot about the early game, but if the game goes on for long enough, we mentioned that Jax is going to scale, and that's true. Tristana is also going to stay stale, but Tristana actually isn't going to have any kind of frontline. When compared to Topaz, they have this Scion and Poppy with strong enough frontline to withstand a lot of damage around the 30-minute mark, where Tristana actually doesn't have her full build just yet. So, in the terms of that, Topaz have a better teamfighting comp, so they will be actually looking to just get together as soon as they can, and that actually may be where the problem that you highlighted may come through with the split push if Oldboys play well enough around it.
Yeah, because I will just say it once again. Oldboys have stayed together as a team. That means that they have so much more confusion. Now, I don't know if you are in the game right now, but Goldberg, he is forced to flash away at level 1.
Apparently we're
Okay.
still not. Okay.
Yeah, we are getting in right now, but if you missed it on stream, Goldberg tried to stay in the brush and he was forced to burn his flash already on the Jax, which, well, it is going to hurt him if Suits is going to be the one focusing around the top side.
He definitely could be running over to the top lane and trying to wreak some havoc. It's a mutual relationship between the junglers and top laners on both teams this time around. So top lane is going to be a heavily contested lane, and looks like we are in game. At least
Yeah, it
in the
looks like
stream.
we are getting a time lapse.
Ooh, that's lovely. You know, I always love a good time lapse. Don't
Yes,
you?
you can see. You just could have seen everything that happened. All right. Well, we are just gonna go back into the game properly, I hope. Okay, yeah.
Yes. Okay, so
Everything is fine.
everything is fine, everything is good, stop screaming. So, a relatively boring early game, except for the Mr. Goldberg losing his flash, which is really important because now Suits can actually run over there and set up a kill with relative ease, because as Graves, he doesn't really have any kind of setup on his own. He does have the Scion, so if Scion can hit the charge up Q, well, he can actually go and kill him really easily. But right now, Suits will just be taking the Scuttle Crab in the bot river, so hey, not much going on there.
Yeah, he could be looking to pay a visit into the bot lane, but, well, Tristana might be a hard lane to gank, but not at level 1. Supreme is running already low. Does hold on to both of his summoners, but is forced to recall under his own turret. Or will he?
That is the trouble that you're going to be facing whenever you're playing Tristana into a Lucian. Supreme, he has used that one potion, so he will at least heal up a tiny bit, but this bot lane is going to be incredibly difficult for him to actually play, because the lineup of Topaz, Art of Creation, and Sensational have so many ways to actually kill them, especially before level 6, before Supreme actually gets the Buster Shot. So he effectively cannot escape without using his flash.
Yeah, and he is very low on HP, so he might have to already burn both of these summoners, and Sensational is just using this fact to get himself some CS lead. For now, only a few minions, the wave is going to be pushing in though, and on the map not too much is happening. Actually, if you look at the Scuttle Crabs, it looks like Suits to both of them, so good for him. This
Nice.
now though, he is looking for something in the mid lane, but he's sitting on a ward.
He is sitting on a ward and he has been spotted. It's official, he has been pinged. Not sure by who, but you know, he did get pinged, and so he won't be dealing too much right now, but I want to bring up a difference in the styles of the champion picks for both the junglers, because Suits has prioritized Olaf.
Wait. This is paying attention to the top side, just casually walking in and just zoning Prillish away from that farm. He doesn't land the cocoon, will get knocked up with the decimating smash. Takes just a lot of damage, the gank doesn't get anything but some CS to Goldberg, and Dizzy just decides to walk out.
That is just a bit of a sad gank, you know, just because there was no setup for Dizzy, and he just had to run in and go straight into the spider form. But yes, talking about the champion picks, it's clear that there is a lot of diversity in the champion picks and in the way that the junglers want to play the game, which I find really interesting. Because you have Dizzy, who loves to just gank, and gank. You could say that he's Gucci at ganking. And then you have Suits, who just, you know, he wants to farm up. He plays Graves, he plays Olaf, he just farms, and then, well, runs into the enemy team and tries to kill them. So that's the difference between Suits and Dizzy. You're welcome, everyone.
Great comparison here by Karen, thank you very much. Dizzy, he's trying for another gank, but Silent Knight, he's just got a ward in that brush at all times, so nothing really can be found, not even a gank to force the cleanse, and Fiamzu, as expected, he's just getting pushed in. Staying pretty even on CS, is actually now behind by 6, but the wave is pushing towards him, so he should be able to catch up. And actually around the map, not too much more happening. This is just going every now and then, try to force some ganks. In that time though, Suits is just farming up the jungle, and he now has pretty much double the CS of the Elise, going to get his third Skylo Crab, and with the Infernal Drake being spawned, we could be even seeing that being started by Topaz early on.
And this is actually the risk that you are running whenever you are focusing heavily on ganking, because if you do not have any safe setup in either of your lanes, picking a gank heavy champion can be really difficult for you, especially if it's someone like Elise with relatively difficult to pull off crowd control. That's what it's called. Because right now, Dizzy hasn't done anything. Prillish just kind of ran to the front. Goldberg dodged, that was nice. But yeah, Dizzy is just falling behind a lot. Behind Suits, just because he's trying to do something around the map, but alas, Suits is just finding his gold, and Elise needs to snowball, so he may be in a world of hurt come few minutes.
Yeah, he's just trying to farm up the camps, not really finding any success ganking. I think that a lot of that can be attributed to how the lanes of Topaz are playing. Silent Knight has pretty much all of the places warded, but right now we are seeing a lot of damage from Fiamzu. He just gets the first blood on the Aatrox. What was that? That's illegal.
That was a lot of damage. He hit all of his sweet spots, what can I say? And that's something that you can do as Aatrox, apparently. Just as soon as you enter the map, you can just kill the enemy with a single rotation of your abilities. And Silent Knight just fell prey, so while he can keep the bushes warded from Elise, he apparently cannot stop Aatrox, which is a bit of a noob, if you ask me.
Yeah, now the dragon is being started. Oh, actually, Suits go over the wall, does not find the steal, and the fight is in full swing. Fiamzu pops the world ender and gets down into the resurrection. Suits gets the kill with the collateral damage, and he's looking for the second one. Fiamzu cannot flash away. Double kill for Suits. Supreme is running away. Art of Creation is still on the chase. Does knock him into the wall. The stance finds its mark. Supreme flashes away though, and the fight will go in favor of Topaz, but they do lose the Infernal Drake.
However, they are now 2,000 gold ahead. That is actually insane to be this ahead at 8 minutes. And they're already doing relatively better than it was last time around. But they actually have a team that doesn't really need to snowball, which is something that Oldboys kind of do. And
Supreme is in a lot of trouble. He jumps and actually gets out of creation and gets out! What is actually going on, Supreme? Plays are just coming in for Oldboys.
I am actually dumbfounded by that. Just completely destroyed the entirety of Topaz at this point. That was really beautiful. Rocket jumping forwards, just used the buster shot to get them under the turret and actually kill Poppy. Man, this guy knows his Tristana. Let me tell you.
Yes, I am
nothing bad. Yeah,
I'm in disbelief, but you know, let's look at this objectively. That is a good play by Supreme, nothing taken away from him. He does get 1 kill, but the big problem still remains. Topaz are ahead by 2000 gold and they are not slowing down at all.
They most certainly aren't going to be slowing down. The Rift Herald will be spawning in just a minute. Dizzy is now actually sitting in the top lane and Privilege has no way of knowing that he's there.
Yeah, Dizzy comes in, but Goldberg has to flash away. Flash forward from Privilege, he gets the kill on the gang. And Dizzy, does he have enough damage? He does use the repel and jumps forward, gets the kill. Now Suits is there and Privilege chases Dizzy with the zombie form. But looks like the Spider will just walk away under his own turret. A 1-for-1 trade, but it really should have gone into Oldboys' favor, considering they were the ones to initiate the gang.
It really should have. Goldberg actually overextended a lot there. He should have had just waited for Dizzy to come around, but he tried to do something himself as well, and as a result he just gave 1 kill over to the bank of Privilege. So not the best of trades, but you know, it's still a trade nonetheless. It's still a kill going into the pockets of Dizzy, which is important if you're playing Elise, just because you want to have a lot of damage on this lovely assassin Spider Lady.
Yeah, but Dizzy has to make some more moves, because we are 10 minutes in and he only really did that 1 gang successfully. He hasn't done it many, as we have seen him all around the map just getting scouted on the wards. And with that 1 kill, well, hopefully he will have some more damage to create pressure, but well, getting more kills doesn't necessarily make ganking easier.
And it actually is dependent on... Yes?
It kinda does, but I mean, never mind. I'm just
Okay,
gonna...
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends on what champion you're playing as well, and okay, Zalandan is just forced to flash, yeah.
Yeah, but right now Fiamzu might be also forced to flash, or at least use the Whirlender. He should just pop down into the Resurrector. Actually, no, it will just be pop. A nice play from Silent Knight, but he still uses the flash. At least he makes sure that it is not in vain.
And to return to my point on Dizzy, Gragas was actually left open last game, so I am a bit not sure why they decided to go for Elise, because when you're going in with this lineup, where you have Jax who doesn't have any amount of setup, you have Aatrox whose setup is really difficult to pull off, and, well, your bot lane is kind of going to be losing all the time, you need a jungle that is actually going to be able to do something on your own if you're not planning to farm. And Elise needs to at least have something in the lane waiting for her to be able to just blow all of her damage off on the opponent. So right now, the Elise pick is just showing to be a bit subpar.
Yeah, there were definitely many other junglers available. The Gragas unfortunately taken off. Maybe it's just this is preference, but right now in the bot lane, ooh, the rocket jump will get interrupted by the side fast present. Now the calling is going in, collateral damage does not find its mark. Madlife will actually body block all of the shots and no one will die from Oldboys, but the heal is still burned.
That was a really nice that fast presence from Art of Creation there. It looked like it looked like Supreme was going to die, but in the end he just lives, and now Topaz are going to be able to find some playthings themselves, but Fiamzu is in this bot lane, and we've seen how much damage he did.
Yeah, the Whirlender is not available. He does find the Infernal Chain, some knockups onto Sensational, Suits get pulled back in, but the flash is already forced from Fiamzu. Dizzy on that Elise cannot find anything, and Topaz, they are now 5-man bot lane without anything stopping them.
And that was actually a really good teleport from Privilege, making sure that they can keep on fighting that fight. Now, Mr. Goldberg will be able to just push in that top lane and get a couple of playthings on his own, so in the end, it actually works against Topaz, but now Elise...
Oh, Art of Creation will get caught out, and the death from below gets Malak the kill, but he does get traded back on, and the Drake still goes in the favor of Topaz, so not a very worthwhile trade. Supreme is also getting chunked down very low by Privilege's Scion, but he just the rocket jumps away under that turret, and overall Topaz, they actually just further their gold lead even more.
It is currently still sitting at 3,000 or so, and they will be just furthering this more and more as the game goes on. Well, hopefully. Or not hopefully, most likely. That's my assumption. But right now, Oldboys are still putting up a really good fight, and they do have the scaling portion on their side in the form of Tristana. But I mentioned that they don't really want to teamfight. Well, they do want to teamfight just because they have a Tristana. but they don't really have a good teamfighting comp, so at this point, they might lose just because of the picks that Topaz have locked themselves in the picks and bans, so it's going to be a tough one for them, but definitely not impossible.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that composition. Okay, actually I'll hold on to that point because Art of Creation is trying in for a gank. It will be just disengaged from, but yeah, the picks, I feel like Oldboys, they don't really commit to any identity. They have the split push in Jax, they've got the early game in Elise, they've got the team fights in Tristana, they've got the roaming in Pyke, and you just have the Aatrox who will probably be killing people in the late game. But like, what do you put this team comp under? Like, they can do pretty much everything to some extent, but nothing really that well. On the other side, Topaz have much more of a mid-game to late-game team-fighting composition. But right now on the top lane, looks like there will be a gank coming in simultaneously with a fight in the bot lane. Supreme will just fall down, switching up into the top side. The Privilege does find a double knockup, and Suits is coming in. Goldberg jumps forward on that Jack, but he doesn't have enough damage. Privilege gets the kill. Back in the bot lane, Sensational gets a double kill, and overall across the map, Topaz pick themselves up 3 kills.
And it's just slowly starting to fall apart for Oldboys, just dying on all fronts to champions that you should never give your either money or gold to. So right now you do have that Blade of the Ruined King finished on Sensational, and that 1 kill will also speed up the build time of his Black Cleaver. So it's going to be really difficult for them to just come back with some engages, and they just need to scale right now. They just have to wait. They have to wait for Tristana to actually get her items. And you asked about the identity. Well, I'm going to say a late game burst team. It's not something that we see too terribly often because, well, it gets countered really easily. But if you think about it, if Tristana hits her full build, right, and you will have that much damage from her, you will also have a lot of damage from Aatrox, Elise, and Jax. So technically you can blow up the backline of Topaz before they even manage to do anything, but it's going to be really difficult to pull off. But if they manage to do so, it's going to be really impressive.
Impressive, I think, is the right word to say, because you've got Privilege and Art of Creation who will just be these unstoppable frontliners with so much tank items that it will be near impossible to kill them. And then you also have mobility on both Graves and Lucian, and a cleanse. So the lockdown possibilities are limited, and you can only realistically target 3 members. But now, Art of Creation, he's just going into that mid lane. Well, then there will be forced by Fiamzuki. He's just walking out of his own dart, but the Ignite is down, and it should be enough. Fiamzuki will burn to death, and Art of Creation gets the kill.
Yeah, that was a bit anticlimactic. That just slowly ticking Ignite. Now, DC.
That is a lot of damage from this Cassiopeia coming in already. Oh, and now here goes Art of Creation for a second kill. Suits in the river, fighting 1 versus 2. The Buster Shot puts him back into the Peril Pit. And Silent Knight, he's just coming in, getting the double kill. Goldberg in the bot lane dies as well. That is actually a 17-minute ace for Topaz.
And this is just absolutely terrible if you are Oldboys. You just have to wait for Tristana to actually get some items, and well, you're just speeding up the game to your own disadvantage. And now, you mentioned that Cassiopeia has a lot of damage. Well, I want you to look at her build. She has finished Luden's Echo as her first item. It isn't something that we actually see too terribly often, because you just go for Rylai. But now she will have so much more damage than she would normally, and it makes sense because Topaz just want to end this game as soon as possible, and the fact that they are just giving, or well, they're just getting these kills is going to mean that they're going to be able to accomplish that goal even faster.
I actually like that Cassiopeia build. I believe I have seen it in the Kespa Cup. I don't remember. I have seen it somewhere outside of the Wintersplit. And the basic idea is that there aren't really any tanks on the side of Oldboys, and Luden's Echo just gives you this burst. So Silent Knight, he, instead of dishing out constant DPS, he will get the burst and then the constant DPS, which is just so much more effective. But right now we might be seeing yet another fight. My Life just nopes out of there as Privilege was just charging his decimating smash, and no kills will actually be going down for either of the teams.
Luckily for them. Now Goldberg may be looking to find something, instead he will be turned upon.
Yeah, he misses the counter strike and Sensational is just on the chase, flashes forward with the piercing leg and the auto attack to finish things off. His 4th kill of the game, and he's just so strong on this Lucian.
Well, I suppose that this playstyle actually goes to Topaz's strengths a lot more, where they can actually play around their AD carry more. As well as Silent Eye, of course, but I'm not sure if it's just because of team comp, but it also feels like they are actually doing what the old Topaz did in the first half of the Wintersplit, which was literally to just, you know, shred your opponents through individual outplays. It feels like in this game there are so many kills happening on the side lanes at the same time as bigger team fights, which is why Oldboys have fallen behind as much as they have.
Art of Creation holds down Supreme into the wall, but now he's under the turret and will get shot down. Supreme gets it with just barely enough health. This turret is still set to go down, so Art of Creation overextending, but Topaz shouldn't lose too much, and we are seeing a fight in the bot lane. Prilish cannot pull out the Tokyo Drift. He does have to flash away, and Fiamzu and Goldberg are still on the chase. The turret in the mid lane falls down in the meantime. Prilish is still trying to run away. Goldberg is charging the counter strike, does find the stun, and Fiamzu will get the shot down in the end. But right now Goldberg, he has to commit his flash to get away, and the rest of the Topaz, they are collapsing. And Suit is just going in with this smoke screen onto Goldberg. The end of the line will not find the damage, but Silent Knight gets the killing spree. The wall ender from Fiamzu will just get him out the cocoon onto Suits just to secure the disengage. And that was just so many kills going in back and forth.
That was actually, was it a 1-for-1 trade?
I
think at the bottom.
No, Art of Creation died as well in the mid lane, so it's actually it was actually a 2-for-1 in the end in favor of
I more meant the one in the bot lane. Yeah, you actually often see Art of Creation committing to a lot of engages, sometimes in which he overextends and doesn't have the team to back him up, and that is because he is the main engage tool, at least right now, when Prilish isn't there to back them up. So usually you would have engage from this team in the form of Unstoppable Onslaught, or you would have Poppy just running in, just hopefully pinning someone to a wall, and then, you know, your team blows all of their ammunition and stuff like that on them, and they die, so that's the plan. But yeah, it actually means that Poppy can die a lot if she doesn't know how far she can go, and that's what happened, and Art of Creation donated at least 1 life to the cause.
I really like what Topaz are doing right now. This is one of my favorite plays that maybe isn't the biggest one out there, but putting the Herald, when you get late Herald, actually there will be a fight, so I will hold on to that point, and my life will just disengage, so quickly coming back before something more happens. You get the late Herald and you put it down into the bot lane. That means that someone, and usually even 2 people, have to go down there, which just opens up the Baron or vision around Baron, and you already see Topaz just coming into the jungle and taking so much vision. Looks like actually Prilish will go down to the bot lane, so they will not decide to use the Herald to directly force the Baron, but they will still get a lot of vision.
They are getting a lot of vision, but now Suits is getting chunked for quite a bit of damage. Prilish is also running over to this top side of the map, and
Supreme is forced to use heal as well as the Bastard Shot. Prilish just comes in with the Unstoppable Onslaught, not finding any knockout, but those are 2 big cooldowns off of the AD carry of Oldboys.
that is okay, Keeper's Verdict is being charged. It doesn't actually isn't used.
The zoning Poppycopter. That is what it's called.
The zoning Poppycopter, okay. Well, I mean, she does get her cooldown refunded, and I am so sorry, Fiamzu.
Yeah, Fiamzu is forced to use his World Ender already. He will pop down into the Resurrection just now. Goldberg is hammering on that bot side turret. He has got a teleport, and even though Topaz, they are firmly in control, they need to actually commit to a decision, because right now they just lost a turret. I guess in favor of the turret mid lane, but that is... You should be going for bigger trades when so ahead.
And right now they seem to be trying to do so. However, Oldboys know that this Baron has been started and are acting accordingly. Goldberg does have that teleport up as well, so they can still certainly do something.
And Elise actually does have decent Baron steals with all of that execute damage on her side. Prilish will get pulled over the wall. The Baron is on 4000 HP. The Poppycopter does not get this away. He is still in there. Now to knock him into the wall, and the Jungler is down.
Suits gets the kill. Fiamsu tries to go over the wall, but he just cannot secure the Baron. You cannot outsmite and smite without a smite. That's really bad. Supreme just falling down, double kill, going in for Suits, and Mallife trying to run away with the Ghost Warrior Knife. That's Ignite down. Art of Creation gets the kill with the ultimate, but will get just knocked up and taken down by Prillish.
Okay, that actually hurts to just watch Pyke get so decimated. Okay, so that was actually a really well thought out Baron contestation, especially by Art of Creation, because first he tried to keep Dizzy out of the Baron pit by using the Keeper's Verdict, and then he just decided, screw it, I'm just gonna go there myself. And well, he killed the poor Spider Lady, so there was nothing that Oldboys could do, which has resulted in a nice little inhibitor and the last inner turret on the top lane.
And right now, Topaz, they are 10,000 gold ahead, which is a sentence that I would say very, very often watching Topaz from last split. So these two changes, or change of Jat, well, Topaz, they just changed completely, and they are playing much like the last iteration. They will also get the third Ocean Drake, so that means that right now with the Baron, they can hold out the siege for so long.
Certainly, and they have 3 Ocean Drakes. That is quite the repertoire. So yes, now Topaz are actually going to be able to just go and run over Oldboys, because Oldboys, again, I said this in the beginning, but they do not actually have a real tank, and now that you have Lucian at one of his strongest points in the game, he's snowballed, he has more items than Tristana, and he has a lot of damage, as well as you will have Silent Knight sitting on quite a bit of items. You will just be able to do so much stuff with this Baron buff especially, and they are just grouping up in the bot lane, just running it down, and Goldberg might be a bit outmatched in the amount of people there.
Yeah, he really cannot do much on the Jax, and overall, looking back at this game, Topaz have been playing this so well, everyone individually. Like, everyone actually has been stepping up, and it's so hard to pinpoint one person who you can attribute this success to. And with that Baron, they will be just knocking on the doors of that bot side inhibitor turret, nothing to stop them. The Keeper's Verdict will knock away the Pyke as the turret is taken, and there is nothing that Oldboys can do to stop this.
And in the meantime, half HP has been taken away from the top inhibitor turret as well, and they do not have Jax here. They're just fighting 4 on 4.
Art of Creation knocks Fiamsu back into the wall, but the wall nether has now been popped, and Fiamsu tries to go in, but he will just get immediately killed and goes down into the resurrection. Mallife is down. 3 kills already going in for Topaz. Make that 4. Supreme is the only person alive. And with these death timers, with the Baron Wealth, with that goal lead, you really have to believe that this is it. Topaz will take the second win much faster than the game 1. And they will close out the series 1-0.
And this, well, this is exactly what Topaz needed to do. They needed their individual people to actually step up and play a game that they were in control of. And while this match was really, really good for them, I am a bit scared to see them actually facing up against teams who have, well, players who can match up with them, who actually can stand their own and hold their ground, because in this game, Topaz pretty much ran over every single person of Oldboys. And if something like that is tried against someone like Hero, well, they might find themselves at a deficit because, well, there have been a lot of mistakes on Topaz's part. Some coherency, most likely communications issues stemming from the fact that they haven't really played with one another too much. But again, we have seen their mastery of the champions that they play and that they can really work together, not really as a unit, but more as a group of really strong players. So, well played for Topaz, and I think that we can also determine that Oldboys played really well. They put up a lot of fight in the first game, and even in the second game, well, they did show us a nice couple of games.
They definitely did, and guys, vote for your MVPs for this game, because, well, you've got a hard choice, especially for Topaz. I believe that Oldboys played well in Game 1 as well. Game 2, they just were outmatched, as you said it. Topaz players just being individually better, and not that much that I mean, not that much, quite frankly, that Oldboys could have done right now. But I just want to talk about what this game means in the grand scheme of the whole tournament, let's say. Because this is your first match. This is the match where you show yourself. And in the first half of this, Oldboys really won only 2 matches. So, coming into this match, especially against Topaz, I expected it to be much more one-sided. Yet in Game 1, Oldboys, they actually showed that they can and they will contest you if you even give them a small chance.
And I always find this interesting, that especially in this first week, you mentioned it, that all teams have to essentially show their cards, kind of. But Topaz has done that, most certainly. They have showed us a lot of the issues that they have, which I think that the teams can utilize. But they've also showed us some strengths. And again, I mentioned it also yesterday on stream, but all of these teams, that if they aren't watching these week 1 matches, they definitely should, because there is so much intel and information lying in how these teams play that it is pretty much a necessity for you to watch them, because again, these teams are just showing us so much about them.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing both of these teams play again next week or whenever they are actually playing. We have a lot of games. That is definitely true. And I mean, is there anything to add? Looking at the MVP votes, yes, there is one wrong name. I assume that Different Fanboy is meant to be Dizzy.
Yes, I assume so. I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't see anything else. But still, Fiamzu has the most votes by quite a few, to say the least. And then Sensational just getting the majority in the Topaz. So yeah, these are the guys that these are the players that you guys thought were the best in their teams.
Yeah, so you guys voted. It's on you. We don't even talk about it at this point, because we don't want that to be our responsibility. What we do have to let be our responsibility is to tell you guys that we're going to be having another match tonight in about 2 hours, or well, hour and a half. We're going to be having Onyx versus Chimera. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun.
Hopefully 3 games.
Hopefully. And we're going to be having the last caster that you actually haven't seen, that is the new addition to our casting roster.
I think there might be one more. Never mind.
No. It's okay.
Okay.
We
Yeah,
can talk
it's
about
okay.
that.
It's okay.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, do you want to do the end card, Kachka?
Yes. So guys, don't forget to follow us on Twitch and on Twitter. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube. If you are new here, then join us on Discord. The link is down there. And well, we're just gonna go, and we will be back in 1.5 hours. Different casters, but still stay tuned, because the next game is coming in just over an hour.